This is your moment. This is the generational turning point America has waited for since 1979, and since the rudderless wars of hubris, my generation, our generation, endured. Don't listen to the noise. Just stay focused. Our commander-in-chief is steady at the wheel. We face a determined enemy, but you are better. But we must prove it every single day. History doesn't care if we're tired, if we're scared, or if the fight feels big. It demands warriors who rise anyway. Peace through strength, the warrior ethos, lethality, unity of purpose, those are not slogans. They're the beating heart of what it means to wear the uniform, that uniform. You think clearly under fire, you act decisively in chaos, you uphold the Constitution, and you uphold our country without hesitation. We are not defenders anymore. We are warriors, trained to kill the enemy and break their will. History is watching. Be the force you swore an oath to be: focused, disciplined, lethal, and unbreakable. We will finish this on America First conditions of President Trump's choosing. Nobody else's, as it should be. And know this above all, President Trump and I have your back, always. Through fire, through criticism, through fake news, through everything. We unleash you because you are the best, most powerful, most lethal fighting force the world has ever seen. May Almighty God watch over you, and his providential arms of protection extend over you. Godspeed, warriors, and keep going.
So I wanted to start today's show by showing that, after the press conference this morning at 7:30 in the morning, whenever it was very early, 8 o'clock maybe. And then later on today, about an hour and a half ago, Pete Hegseth put that out. And I thought, for me personally, it was perfect timing. It was absolute perfect timing because I am sick and disgusted and tired of people on X. There's one thing to have an opinion. We all have one. You know the slogan, you know the cliche. We all know what that means. We all have opinions. But there's another thing for people to be actually trying to create subterfuge, confusion, and as Pete Hegseth just said, stop listening, don't listen to the noise, focus on the signal. And in this precarious time that we're in right now, I think it's vitally important that we do just that. We focus on signal. We focus on what matters. We focus on what we can verify. We focus on what we believe is true. And we block out all the other BS, because there's a lot of BS out there for whatever reason. If people are chasing clicks, likes, views, whatever, man, I haven't seen it like this in quite some time. It's even worse than the whole, Erica Kirk had Charlie Kirk killed thing. It's insane. Everybody out there is pointing fingers and trying to be the authority on things. There's one authority, God. The second authority down here is President Trump. And so I think it's really important at this point to dial into the administration. Doesn't mean you have to believe them. It doesn't mean you have to accept everything that is said as gospel. Like I said, you could have your opinion, but when you turn that opinion and you begin destroying your own credibility about stuff you don't know, is what I'm seeing all over X. Because one of the things we can all put 100% trust in is nobody's got any sources. Sources are BS. I was going to use a bigger word there, but I'll leave it at BS. Because none of these people knew what was coming. None of these people knew how it was going to happen. And now they're all struggling and frantically trying to be the person who's got the scoop, when they don't have the scoop unless it's given to them. And then they can craft their opinion based upon what is given to them. They're all squirrels trying to get a nut right now. As I look on the screen and they're playing a replay of something that Donald Trump said earlier today, I just felt the need at this point to speak to you from a position, a perspective of it's not even trust Trump. You don't have a choice but to trust Trump. There is no information coming out about this entire operation that you can trust unless it's coming from his mouth, and you can't even trust that. Now let me put the big asterisk before anybody screams at me. I am not saying that Pete Hegseth or General Kane or President Trump are liars. But what I am saying is, in the fog of war, as they call it, there has to be a great deal of deception, which is different than a lie. You heard Pete Hegseth today, if you were tuned in. I'll show you some of those clips as he was talking as what. And Trump has said it very often. Why would I tell you? Who the hell are you? Who do you work for? Breitbart? The Guardian? Oh, you don't have one of these patches. You're not in the inner circle. So why are you asking me such stupid questions? There's no way I'm going to tell you a battle plan. And if I do tell you some sort of battle plan, you have no idea if I'm telling you what is really going to happen, or am I openly trying to deceive anybody who's listening. So with that, I think you have to be very, very, very careful in terms of what you listen, what you forward, what you share, what you send me. I see it. People send me stuff and I'm like, ugh. I'm not going to listen to some video with some guy telling me what they're doing in Iran when there's no way you know. And the only people who know, people who do know afterwards, when we all see it. Okay, now we see it. If there are people out there who knew, truly knew, well, tell me what's going to happen in the next hour. Tell me what operations are going to happen at, say, I don't know, 7 or 8 o'clock tonight. Then I can listen to you if that comes true. That'll tell me, man, this guy knows what he's talking about. It's pretty much the same in football. I always go back to a football analogy, but when I was, talking about the Dolphins, and that was my channel, nobody knew what play was going to be called next. You don't know that. No one's calling you and saying, hey, yeah, Fred, yeah, we're going to run a wing out, and we're going to throw the ball to the left side of the field. No, maybe you can read what the lineup looks like, but you don't know. And it used to get me when people say this and they say that, and there's no way you know. Right now, like it or not, we are all spectators. But I urge you at this point to be discerning of what people say. I would urge you to be discerning of how they're acting, what they're posting. And first thing you should probably say is, does anybody want to put a disclaimer and say, this is just my opinion, instead of just saying fact? And then you have to wonder, what do they know? Have they been in battle? And I mean, all kinds of different things. Because right now we are on the precipice of something very big, potentially very scary. We don't know if there are sleeper cells here. We don't know if there are dirty nukes here. We don't know. So I think instead of spending so much time trying to listen to what this guy has to say or that lady has to say, you start looking internally and saying, what exactly is going on here? What's your opinion as to what's going on here? What's your opinion as to why President Trump and Pete Hegseth and General Kane are doing what they're doing? An opinion. That's a little bit more palatable to me. I'm going to give you my opinion. I have no idea if it's true, but I'm not going to pontificate as if it is. one of the things I want to show you, I often go back and listen to things Rush Limbaugh has said. And Rush said this: Washington can't afford for President Trump to succeed. If an outsider like Trump can fix the messes they've created over decades, the people will never vote for the establishment again. I don't think that is an untruth. I think everything that you have watched for the last 36 to 48 hours is complete fear and panic. Because I believe, we want to talk about some opinions right now, that this is why they were totally freaked out and deathly afraid of President Trump for the last, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years. It could have been longer. You've seen some of his speeches and media appearances when he was a young man. And he was like, I'd do it this way, I'd do it that way. And see, he wasn't in the so-called swamp. And so that's why they impeached him not once, but twice. And that's why some people in the GOP on the right, I believe, screwed up the midterms, allowed all the stuff to happen in 2020 because they had to stop Trump. I don't believe there is a Republican Party right now. Notice I'm saying I don't believe. I can't prove it. I don't believe there's any way, shape, or form of a, quote, GOP. I believe it's MAGA, and I don't know what the other people are. I don't even know we can use Rhino anymore. In the first administration, you saw they stacked his cabinet because he didn't know the lay of the land in Washington, and all they did is put roadblocks around him. They made sure he could not possibly be effective. I believe personally that people on the right, and you're seeing some of them, are using counter messaging on everything coming from the administration. And the one problem that they're having is war doesn't allow for real counter messaging because you don't know. You can't go into a hearing. You can't go into a meeting and leak something. You have no freaking idea. Massey, all the rest of them, they don't know anything more than you. Guaranteed, they're not telling them anything that they're not telling you in press conferences. Not going to do it. And so their counter messaging is to screw you up, to be noise. And that's why some of the people, including people on the right, are melting down daily. President Trump, for better, for worse, depending on where you sit, is changing the country and the world. You cannot doubt. That is not opinion. That is truth. That is fact. The country right now and the world as you know it is changing by the day, which is why I always told, some of those pollsters who kind of disappeared, that there was no way you could foretell what was going to happen in November because you can't have any idea what's going to happen tomorrow. We are in uncharted territory for both us as supporters and they in government, and of course the media as well. They're being laughed at. We're not telling you. So imagine that for the first time in probably a very long time, we are in the same position, even us lowly people who are just supporters, as people in Congress, people in Senate, and people in the media. They don't know shit. They're not gonna know. There's no moles. There's no leaks. And that should make you feel strong. Like, wait a second. What do you know? Well, I heard. I got a source. Yeah. President Trump right now, better than any of the things he's done before, is exposing decades, multiple decades of fraud. And the word people like to use now is grift. He's exposing it all right before your very eyes. He's showing you what happened in Venezuela, and they went and got Maduro. He's showing you all of these different things and exposing it and going, looky here, they've been stealing money in Minnesota for hundreds and millions of dollars and giving it to Somalians. Oh boy, looky here, Cuba, you're next. And it's such information overload. You guys probably just can't digest it all. It's like, wait a second, Cuba? Notice who's being quiet. Notice who's like, I ain't want no parts of this. I ain't heard much from Putin, and I haven't heard much from Xi Jinping. I haven't heard much from other countries as well. You got the people in Europe who really can't say anything because they're completely at the whim of what he wants to do. You can go out and give a press conference. I'm not going to let you use airspace. Okay. But you can't stop him. And that's what the problem is that they're having right now. He is, without a doubt, at this point, showing you, and he continues to show us, we don't have to live the way they've been making us live for decades. It's so revealing. It's so exhilarating. You can exhale. You're like, wait a second. I can see what this guy is doing. I know why they don't like it. And we don't have to live the way they've been telling us for decades we have to live. And as he's doing so, he's shining a light on, what was long known as those problems that could never be fixed. Oh, what's he got? A magic wand? We can't fix that. Oh, he's fixing it? Oh, we can't do anything about, the newcomers. Oh, he's fixing that. Oh, the border was fine. He's fixing that. Taxes. Everything that he's swinging at that we've been told were immutable. We couldn't change them. He's changing them. And the more he tries to change, the more they fight, the more they expose themselves as being anti-American. Would you have ever have thought that you would see elected officials in the United States fight for Mexico, Palestine, Gaza, Ukraine, Iran, you name it? The flags in the bios, making boys girls, making girls boys, turning top upside down. Would you have ever imagined, even 5 years ago, you would see elected officials, supposedly elected, basically turning their back on America? And here comes President Trump with a giant spotlight, and he's showing you. And there's still people who have doubt. Imagine that. You're seeing all this stuff. You have watched the river to the sea. You've watched the Ukrainian flags. You've seen protests for everything except America. And so now, over the last 72 hours, you're seeing people who are oppressed being protested by the people who want their oppression. Ladies, you can go braless. Ladies, you don't have to wear, a burqa, a hijab. Ladies, you can talk, you can actually tweet, you can say different things, you can write, you can go to school, you can get a job, you can run for office. But now you've got elected officials here saying, oh, they shouldn't be able to have that. Wait a second, wait. The fact that you can say that you don't like Trump and the government already shows you have more freedom than the women over there, and you're okay with them not having it. All of this can be fixed. It ain't an easy fix, but it can be fixed. And the problem right now, and why I'm even telling you this, is that the left and many on the right have no defense for the truth. They have no defense for that truth, that these people are dancing in the streets, and the people who are opposing them are other white liberal women that say, no, you should keep all that stuff on. What happened to the LGBTQs? They throw them off buildings. Unless you people have learned how to fly, pretty much you're in the wrong damn parade. Man, it turns out as you look at things that the border could have always been secured in a number of days if they wanted to do it, but they didn't want to do it. You know, I believe we can deport as many newcomers from the interior of this country as we want, and they could have done it as well. They don't need to have every single judge trying to protect the Maryland man, but that's what they're doing. We can require that companies not put poison into our food. I believe now, after seeing all the stuff about the red dyes and everything else, and having my meeting with the FDA, Dr. Marty McCary, and hearing what they were doing, hey, well, why are you guys the question you'll see tomorrow? I asked them straight up, why are you guys the people who are stopping this? Because they've been trying to stop red dye for 30, 40 years. They've been trying to stop this chemical and that chemical for decades. Well, what the hell did you guys do different? We just took action. And so everything that you're seeing, not everything, you should be sitting back. Oh, wait a second. So we could have had better food. My mom, my dad, people I know, they didn't have to suffer from food related or inflammation and gut stuff. And nope. So the entire pyramid that we saw was completely BS just to help them sell stuff. Yep. Are you listening? Are you seeing all the things that your government has been okay happening to you? I mean, when you see the interview tomorrow, one of the things that struck me, I mean, absolutely struck me. You guys all have sneakers. Where's my MAGA sneakers? Come here, Mr. MAGA sneaker. Okay, hold on. I got a point here. I've been talking to you about the MAGA sneakers. This isn't a commercial. Dr. Marty told me, you see this stuff? You see this stuff here on the bottom of the sneaker? You've been eating it. You know, when you step into the shower or your tub and you got those rubber things with the sucky things on it so you don't fall on your ass? You've been eating it. When you hear the interview tomorrow, you're like, wait a second, they've been putting rubber plastic stuff in our food? Yeah. Why did they not stop it? They didn't care. Which is why they're screaming now. Not an opinion, fact. Not an opinion. They've been putting crap in your food so that other people could make money and so you could, eventually die because you're taking up too much space and breathing too much air and eating too much food. Could have stopped it a long time ago. We can actually do stuff with people who do bad things to us and get rid of them. We don't have to live with mass migration coming in. What do you mean? Nope, don't need to have that. But they're going to go ahead and protest it. Not an opinion. Fact. Turn off. Don't let them in. We don't have to hollow out flyover country and force our citizens to learn to code if they didn't want it to happen. Seems like we could give people jobs that you said were never coming back. Well, they weren't coming back because you were forcefully making sure that those jobs went to other countries with the WHO. And I'm saying this thing because I want you guys to bring back your memory and go, oh yeah, I remember that one too. With the WHO, finds out we don't have to pay the research and development costs for prescription drugs for other countries. Why were we paying for them? Oh, that's because we could tax the hell out you. It comes to find out that SNAP and welfare and everything else is ripe with fraud. And everybody, until Trump comes along, looks the other way. Again, not a supposition, 100% true. How often do you remember this? They don't talk about it anymore. Already, it's off the front page. We don't have to fear terror-loving countries plunging the world into some crazy-ass dark age because now our president has a set of cojones. And he's like, if you do this, we're gonna blow you to smithereens. Not a supposition. Fact, you've seen it. You have a president who says, you got until this day to do this, and if you don't, shit's gonna happen. Boom, it happens. I think, in my opinion, I think that's why some of this stuff happens that we're seeing with around the world. They don't believe him. Remember Maduro said, do you remember what Maduro said? Maduro said, hey, President Trump, come get me. I'm right here. Oh, he came? Yeah. And the Ayatollah Assahola, oh, we're going to blow up the world and we're going to take America. Oh, he's gone too, huh? You know, remember the old commercial with William Shatner? Yeah, knock this off my shoulder. Don't get in the ring if you ain't ready to throw punches. We don't have to allow other countries to rip us off. If they cared about Americans, our leaders would be okay with tariffs. Can we get this money back? Nope, they want anything to do with these tariffs. And I'm saying this just so you can recall all of the signal, not the noise. Because at the end of this, there's one thing I'm not talking about, which is the only thing they're talking about. You probably already know. You know, we didn't have to do all this DEI crap to protect minority rights that we already had. I'm black. I didn't need any DEI. Just put me in school. I'll learn. Give me an opportunity. I'll work. I don't need to be given anything. Same thing with Social Security. They're not giving you anything. It's money they took from you. I abhor the term. I abhor the term tax refund. When you sign a mortgage and you pay it off and you're sending your check to the mortgage company, they don't call you and say, hey, you got my refund this month? No, they want what's owed. It's an obligation. It's a debt. They changed the language a long time ago to make you think you're getting a refund. You owe it to me. You took my money and you didn't even give me any interest. You didn't even kiss me. Just take all the money. And then we'll make you have to fill out 70 pages to get it back. These are all things that actually happened. There's no supposition that all happened. It's all signal. You can have an opinion on it, but you can't deny fact. And that thing I didn't discuss, which everybody wants to talk about, is Epstein. That's how you know you got nothing and you don't give a shit about America. Because everything I just said in the last 15, 20 minutes, which actually affects you specifically, you directly, they don't want to talk about. They don't want to even discuss any of those things I just said. But they'll discuss Epstein 24/7, which matters maybe emotionally, but does nothing for your life. You as an American get nothing from Epstein. Nothing. Everything I just said is owed to you specifically and has been done to you and has been offended to you. They took your money. They took your safety. They fed you shit. Every single one of the things that actually matters to Americans, these scumbags won't even talk about. So now here we are, blowing up stuff in Iran, and they still won't come true. And all it is about I won't say the acquiescence of power, because President Trump's not acquiescing. He's taking it. He's taking it. And I'm even seeing people on Fox earlier who were questioning what he's doing because somebody might have to put some boots on the ground. Well, let me just say this. what are we, 250 years old? Some people had to put boots on the ground back then, didn't they? Some people had to get on the ground so that I could turn on lights and talk into a camera. Some people had to get on the ground so that you could pick up a phone and tweet. Some people had to get on the ground so women could vote. Don't tell me about putting boots on the ground and having some sort of, pearl clutching fear about that. We're talking about America. And if I was younger, I'd be signing up right now. Put me in, coach. Because if boots have to go on the ground to defend what we hold dear, should that be a question? You may have an opinion. You may be pacifist and say, no, we don't want that to happen. Okay, but then are you prepared to speak, I don't know, Cantonese, Mandarin, Russian, Farsi? Where is your line that you will say, I don't want to be that aggressive unless? See, that's the line you're going to have to take right now, because I believe that's the line he's fighting for right now. I believe he's fighting to say, we can't go here, because if we don't do this, if we don't do what we're doing right now, these people have sworn to kill us. Every one of you probably have heard it said, death to America. At what point do you believe it, and what point do you not believe it? People in Austin, Texas went out for a good night of, partying, and somebody comes in and says, Allah Akbar, and shoots it up. Doesn't get much coverage. Nobody wants to talk about it. But that's what we're fighting for. And they don't want you to focus on those things that are so important to you. And they're talking about Epstein or Savannah Guthrie. I'm ready to fight. I'm behind the president 100%. I don't have time for the naysayers, because I understand and I believe that America can still win. Thanks for listening. I had that in me for quite some time, and I'm like, I'm tired today. Had 3 shows, and I'm like, what aren't people getting? That's why I feel the way I feel. Hey, let me talk to you. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you looked, but if you bought some gold and silver before, and you hedged and said, let me see what's happening. We saw the market go down, but now it's popping back up. Everything's happening according to the trends and research, if you've been doing it. They are trying, and they have continued to try to do everything to suppress the market. And it's been going on for quite some time. The days of excessive money printing, overvalued markets, and global unrest are finally catching up to the world's elite. Instead of pulling back now, because you just see what happened today with oil. I mean, this stuff is so predictable. You don't need a stockbroker for the most part. You can just start seeing. I told you a couple of days, guess what's going to happen on Monday? And it happens. Why did I know? I look at trends. Now is the time for you to do your research. Keep your eyes open to trends and get some information from my friends at Lear Capital. Experts are still predicting $6,000 gold and $150 to $200 silver. Everything you're seeing right now is being driven by geopolitical uncertainty and inflation concerns and a perceived weakening U.S. dollar, and now the price of oil as well. Is it time for you to buy some gold or silver? Well, that's a decision only you and your wife can make. I can't make it for you. But if you call Lear Capital, they'll help you by getting the most accurate, up-to-date information you'll need to make an informed decision. Now, I'm going to have Kevin DeMerit on the show on Wednesday to actually underscore that, get you some of the most accurate, timely, informed information so you can make an informed decision. He'll be here Wednesday. So call the best in the business and the company that Robin and I personally buy from, personally trust. Call Lear Capital. It's a free call. There's no obligation to purchase, just education and information on protecting and growing your wealth with gold and silver. I'm sure there are many of you that have called, but yet just haven't pulled the trigger yet for whatever reason. maybe now is the time you want to do it. You know, they'll even walk you through shifting some of your money sitting in a retirement account over to physical gold and silver. It's easy to do. I've been extremely satisfied, more than extremely satisfied. I'm very, very happy with Lear's knowledge, their service, and their pricing. And there's a lot of people think there's a whole bunch of fees and it's very hard to sell. Not true. I urge you to call today and learn more. 800-601-5430, 800-601-5430, or go to learberry.com to learn more. After 35 minutes, let's get this party started.
One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
The United States conducted this operation with a very clear goal in mind. I haven't got a chance to see a lot of reporting. I don't understand what the confusion is. Let me explain it to you, and I'll do it once again as clearly as possible. Perhaps you'll report it that way. The United States is conducting an operation to eliminate the threat of Iran's short-range ballistic missiles and the threat posed by their Navy, particularly to naval assets. That is what it is focused on doing right now, and it's doing quite successfully. I'll leave it to the Pentagon and the Department of War to discuss the tactics behind that and the progress that's being made. That is the clear objective of this mission. The second question that's been asked is, why now? Well, there's two reasons why now. The first is it was abundantly clear that if Iran came under attack by anyone, the United States or Israel or anyone, they were going to respond and respond against the United States. The orders had been delegated down to the field commanders. It was automatic, and in fact, it bared to be true because, in fact, within an hour of the initial attack on the leadership compound, the missile forces in the south and in the north, for that matter, had already been activated to launch. In fact, those had already been pre-positioned. The third is the assessment that was made that if we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties. And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all.
So I'm going to ask you a question. I don't know where you live. None of my business where you live. But when you go to sleep at night, Do you lock the doors? Very simple question. When you're driving and going to the store or going to the mall someplace, when you turn off your car, do you take the keys and lock the doors, or do you leave them open? I ask you because the elementary response is yes, of course. And so when people are now making another straw man argument, and that argument being, well, how do you know that they were going to attack? It's insane. And once again, it's trying to trap us into an argument that becomes circular crazy. I know what they have. They've already told us what we're going to do. At what point would you like us to engage? After they fired? After New York got blown up? Please tell us, when we have all this intelligence that you don't, and we're telling you they were getting ready. Well, I don't think an attack was imminent. Okay, well, if you don't think things are imminent, leave your door open. Leave money on the dashboard. Leave your jewelry on the front doorstep. Go walk into a pond in Florida because, you know, the alligator attack isn't imminent. They have tried to change ideology so bad, they are basically telling you, get attacked first. Don't do anything until you've been attacked. Then you can respond. Who in their right mind would let that happen? You wouldn't do it in your personal life. You wouldn't walk past somebody who says, I'm going to punch you in the face, and wait until they punch you in the face. This pacifist, leftist bullcrap, it will get and has gotten people killed. What is well, we now know. What's the number one job of the president? What's the number one job of everybody you elect? To protect its citizens, to make sure you are safe. That's job number one. All the economy and everything else, first I got to make sure you're safe. Men who live in a household, and what's the first thing your wife and your kids expect? Keep us safe. When you leave the house, what's the first thing you have? Keep them safe. But these people, as we know from the State of the Union, hey, is the first job here to keep America safe? Nope. So if the premise at the very core isn't agreed upon, how in the hell can we expect the media to even have any clue about what's going on? You've already told us 1 week ago tomorrow. Hey, you guys, stand up if you agree that protecting America is your number one job. No, huh? No, these people are crazy, as President Trump said. So when you think about, again, use your memory, they've already told you your safety is not their number one importance. Whose safety is number one? The newcomers? Iran? And that's how you have to begin looking at it. Not my opinion. They told you. We're not here to save you. We're here for these other people who aren't supposed to be here. They're more important. The only person who stood was Trump. And of course, J.D. Vance and the rest of the Republicans stood up. But now, I don't know if he was giving us a hint or if he was laying a trap for the Democrats, but now they're knee-deep in this kind of quicksand, and they can't extricate themselves from it, and the media is out here looking absolutely stupid.
We're here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act. Going back to the purpose of this is to destroy that missile capability. Why does Iran want that ballistic missile capability? What they are trying to do and have been trying to do for a very long time is build a conventional weapons capability as a shield where they can hide behind. Meaning, there would come a point where they have so many conventional missiles, so many drones, and it can inflict so much damage that no one can do anything about their nuclear program. That is what they were trying to do, is put themselves in a place of immunity where the damage they could inflict on the region would be so high that no one can do anything about their nuclear program or their nuclear ambitions.
So do you disagree with that? If you disagree and say, no, I think we should have waited until they bombed us. They should have bombed a base or something. Then we would have known they're serious. You know the Ayatollah Assahola, he's always talking. I don't believe anything he says. You know, he's a big blowhard, and he just says stuff. We should have known he wasn't serious. So you want to roll the dice like that. Thank God President Trump doesn't want to roll that dice like that. Thank God that Marco Rubio is like, no, we're not going to wait till somebody throws the first punch. I'm looking at the TV right now. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, 12:45 in Israel, and there's rockets going back and forth. Just looks like a star in the sky. Let's continue.
Producing, by some estimates, over 100 of these missiles a month. Compare that to the 6 or 7 interceptors that can be built a month. They can build 100 of these a month, not to mention the thousands of one-way attack drones that they also have. They've been doing this for a very long time, and by the way, they've been doing it under sanction. You see the attacks they're conducting right now? They're attacking airports, they're attacking hotels, they're hitting not just military bases, they're attacking our embassies directly, they're attacking facilities that have nothing to do with war or with military, and that's a weekend Iran.
All right, not sure what happened there, but it came back. So we're back. Anyway, so that's Marco Rubio talking about specifically why we needed to strike. And all the media, all of them running around with their, hey, we're peaceniks. We don't like to fight. Well, you better learn how to fight. So hopefully we're going to be good the rest of the thing here. I do hear some thunderstorming out there. So let's try to get through as much as we can. I wanted to show you a couple posts put up by, again, people I put credence in. This first one here is from Ari Fleischer. This is how peace breaks out. Imagine a region in which the free flow of commerce is not attacked or threatened. The free people can trade with one another without fear of an Iranian attack. Sinking the Iranian Navy is not only good for peace, it's everyone's economy will benefit. And it says 2 days ago, the Iranian regime had 11 ships in the Gulf. Today, they have 0. The Iranian regime has harassed and attacked international shipping in the Gulf of Oman for decades. Those days are over. Freedom of maritime navigation has underpinned American and global. So now they have no Navy ships in the Gulf of Oman, which is good for the world. Now we just got to open up the Strait of Hormuz and things can go back to, somewhat normal. Britt Hume from Fox said this: I must say I find it puzzling that critics harp on the question of whether there was an imminent threat from Iran, which is what Marco Rubio was just talking about. I get that such a threat is a legal justification for action without congressional approval, which is why they're trying to pin him down. But the question suggests that threats should be allowed to become highly advanced before they can be addressed. This whole war powers resolution thing that they're trying to enforce and that they want to take a vote on is meant to weaken President Trump and, i.e., weaken America. Instead of, I'm watching bombs drop in Tel Aviv right now, and you're saying, let that happen before we reach out and do something. No, we have to stop them. And then Jonathan Turley, who you guys know is a constitutional lawyer from Georgetown University, he had this to say: when Congress votes on the war powers resolutions, it should schedule votes on ending the democratic government shutdown. Remember, we're still shut down. Nobody's talking about that. The government is theoretically shut down right now, and nobody wants to talk about it. As the U.S. and other countries move to counter Iranian sleeper cells, the block on funding of Homeland Security and TSA is extremely reckless and dangerous. The core mission should be to keep America safe, and the Democrats are playing games by not allowing TSA, where people are flying, and Homeland Security to be funded. Make that make sense. I can't. It makes no sense whatsoever. All right, so I'm going to move into a different part of the show. We're going to change lanes here pretty quick here. I got a whole bunch of stuff to show you. All right, so before I do that, let me tell you about, what do I got? Brightcore. Brightcore is one of our ongoing sponsors. Early onset dementia and Alzheimer's are on the rise. Reports show a 373% increase in diagnoses among 30 to 44-year-olds and a 311% increase in 45 to 54-year-olds in the U.S. in recent years. When doctors treat brain diseases, they often focus on medicating the brain itself, addressing symptoms instead of the root cause, which is chronic inflammation and oxidative stress. These factors damage brain cells and lead to the buildup of toxic proteins, the hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. But like much of the body, many brain issues trace back to the gut microbiome. There's a direct communication line between your gut and your brain. The gut-brain axis is as they call it, where gut bacteria influences inflammation, your mood, your memory, and cognitive function. That's why what you eat matters so much. Did you know you're eating sneaker rubber? Yeah, you are. Did you know that U.S. life expectancy peaked at 78 years in 2014, and global life expectancy is declining for the first time in 30 years because people are aging faster than ever before. This is due to more toxins in the air, chemicals in our soil and food, and other external factors that are new to us. What most people don't know is that we can actually fight aging on a cellular level. And my friends from Brightcore had this amyloid beta study that you guys can take a look at. And scientists discovered that kimchi actually slows the aging process of human cells, helping protect them and delay aging at the cellular level. The power of nature can outweigh the power of pharmaceuticals without any nasty side effects. And now you can get all the benefits of kimchi and a simple capsule with Kimchi 1. Each capsule delivers over 900 probiotic strains plus antioxidants and enzymes that support your digestion, your metabolism, and your skin health from the inside out. As we age, we become obviously more susceptible to microbial threats. Kimchi 1 is a natural antimicrobial, helping your body fight off harmful bacteria, viruses, and even toxins while boosting your immunity and energy. Best of all, Kimchi 1 is 100% made in the USA, all natural and non-GMO. Support your gut, protect your cells, and feel younger every day with Kimchi 1 from Brightcore. And if you want to get some Kimchi 1, get it today. Today, you can get an exclusive offer by clicking the link below just in the description and just use code Barry for 25% off your entire order. Or for an even better deal, call my friends at Brightcore for up to 50% off your order and free shipping. Give them a call now at 888-418-6738. I'll be back in 90 seconds.
Back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Gentleman has never done this. The county has a rotating presidency. The U.S. holds it for a month in March. Let's watch some of this.
My bad. My bad.
And look who we have at the United Nations right now. First Lady Melania Trump is presiding over the UN Security Council meeting. A First Lady or First Gentleman has never done this. The county has a rotating presidency. The U.S. holds it for a month in March. Let's watch some of this.
With the Rule 39 of the Council's Provisional Rules of Procedure, I invite Ms. Rosemary DiCarlo, Under-Secretary General of Political and Peace-Building Affairs, to participate in this meeting. It is so decided. The Security Council will now begin its consideration of item 2 of the agenda. I now give the floor to Ms. Rosemary DiCarlo.
Thank you, Madam President.
I shall now make a statement in my capacity as First Lady of the United States. First, my heartfelt condolences to the families who have lost their heroes, who sacrificed their lives for freedom. Their bravery and dedication will always be remembered. I extend my earnest wishes for a swift and smooth recovery to all those who have been injured. You are in my thoughts and prayers during these challenging times. The U.S. stands with all of the children throughout the world. Collectively, your mission to maintain security while upholding the responsibility of preventing conflict during times of both war and peace is significant, must be applied evenly, and should never be carried out lightly. Peace does not need to be fragile. Enduring peace will be achieved when knowledge and understanding are fully valued within all societies. The value placed on education by nations' leaders shape the core of their country's belief system. A nation that makes learning sacred protects its books, its language, its science, and its mathematics. It protects its future. This leads to something powerful, to greater understanding, moral reasoning, and tolerance of others. Peace. Children raised in a culture rooted in intelligence develop confidence, innovate, build, compete, and maintain a deep value system. Their knowledge fosters empathy for others, transcending geography, religion, race, gender, and even local norms.
I don't know about you, but I've never seen, well, actually, they said it on Fox. Martha McCallum said no first lady or first gentleman has ever presided over the United Nations. And here's Melania, shows up looking fierce, and she's presiding over the United Nations today. And I believe that the event went on for probably an hour plus in terms of the different things she talked about. But this was her opening speech. And I wanted to share something with you as you're watching this. Behind her is Tammy Bruce. and also Mike Walls, the UN ambassador, whatever his title is. And the two of them, as you will see as it rolls, just kind of smiling like, yeah, that's her. Yeah, that's her. Her husband is right now taming the world, and right now she's here and presiding over the United Nations.
They become caring people. But children raised in culture rooted in ignorance are surrounded by disorder and sometimes even conflict. These societies are filled with rigid thinkers who embrace prejudice and shun human dignity. When a nation restricts thought, it restricts its own future. Education is widely recognized as a fundamental human right, and yet today, so many children and young adults are banned from attending secondary schools and universities. The cost is not abstract. Imagine the loss of potential to our collective humanity, new medical breakthroughs, advancement in food security, groundbreaking technologies, all gone. A society that excludes vast segments of its population can realize only a fraction of its potential. Societies ruled by knowledge and wisdom are therefore more peaceful. We must cultivate a just moral imagination for the next generation, for our children, building an infrastructure of understanding. Knowledge is a power. It shapes titans of industry and inspires courageous social pioneers. We must capture this positive energy and ignite it across continents to transform our world throughout our digitally connected human race. Intellect blossoms humanity's fundamental needs: shelter, food security, clean water, and healthcare. And predictably, almost all communities will have access to knowledge within our lifetimes. The global community must facilitate complete access to technology so that every individual can reach their full potential through education. We must strive to achieve connectivity in the most remote locations and the furthest distances from our cities. This objective is entirely feasible and is already on the way. Today, roughly 6 billion individuals, about 70% of people on planet Earth, have a mobile device and use the internet. If our nations band together, we can close the technological divide.
Amazing, amazing. And not many people, like you saw earlier, Fox, they dipped in for a second, but not a whole lot of people were even talking about that. And I'm like, I got to show that to people. She's presiding over, over the United Nations. Loved it. Just wanted you guys to see that. Not much commentary, but I just thought, again, we'll use that word contrast. Her husband is waging war, and she's sitting at the United Nations holding court. Love it. Absolutely love it. All right, let's get to the rest of the show.
And here in Southern California, hundreds of Iranian Americans rallied and celebrated the deaths of Iran's supreme leader. Some who even said they were opposed to President Trump before are now praising his military action.
Eyewitness News reporter Tim Pulliam is live in Westwood this evening with more on the rally and how people there are reacting to the strikes in Iran. Tim.
Yeah, Liz, Jory, the group was celebrating here all afternoon. They have since gone home. They say what is happening in Iran is a moment for change. You just heard from an Iranian woman who essentially said Iranians are large in numbers and they want new leadership. This event drew hundreds of people to the streets. Air 7 showed the massive crowd gathered outside the federal building in West.
You ever notice when they talk about good rallies and good protests? Oh, it's just a couple hundred. That's a hell of a lot more than a couple of hundred people. And that's what peaceful, I won't even say protest, that's what peaceful assembly looks like. That's what it means. And this is in Los Angeles. This is right in the belly of the beast in Los Angeles, California. And they're all out there going, Trump, Trump, Trump. Oh, that's right. Well, we're losing 2028. Yeah, okay.
They waved Iranian flags along with the American and the Israel flags. There were messages thanking President Donald Trump and Israel for striking their native land, killing Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei. They say for decades he left the country broken and oppressed.
I'm here to celebrate free Iran. I'm here to celebrate all the people that have reached.
Now understand, you're looking at this woman with her big sunglasses, her hair, her jewelry, her skin is showing. What she's doing right there could get her killed in Iran. Oh my God, you showed your face. Oh my God, you showed your bare shoulders. Yet you're in Los Angeles. You're in Hollywood. I don't see Jane Fonda out there talking to her. You're right. You're right. We should be happy. No, they're protesting what's going on in Iran so that you, if you were there, would be a subjugated, if not killed woman. That woman right there, makeup on, big shades, talking to the press, jewelry, bare skin on her shoulders. And they don't want that over there. And our women here are like, yeah, no, we can't, oh my, free Iran. Oh my gosh.
Recently died, make sure that their deaths were not in vain and make sure that we're here to remember them.
For the first time in 47 years, the people of Iran have risen against darkness, against evil. And they know their only hope is President Trump and Israel. Together, we get together. And it's the only hope, the only chance we have to get rid of this evil regime.
The atmosphere has been festive all afternoon with dancing and singing. And despite the casualties from this conflict, they believe Iran will be able to thrive under new leadership. Tim Pulliam, ABC 7, Eyewitness News.
Why wouldn't they be able to thrive? You think that's a big rally? You ain't seen nothing. Wait until he moves on Cuba or Cuba comes to their senses. You will not believe how big the Cuban rallies will be. It will take over the entirety of South Miami. Little Havana will be partying until 4 o'clock in the morning. It will go absolutely crazy. And then there will be some Democrats out there like, we shouldn't be free in Cuba. We shouldn't let these people enjoy prosperity. They should still be driving 64 Chevys. I don't know if you've ever seen movies or even seen pictures of Cuba, but they're still driving the cars that were there back in 1960. Their economy, shit. Their food, well, can be good if they get a hold of it. You won't even recognize Cuba. Cuba will be fast. See, that's the one thing about Cuba. It won't be bombs and everything else. It'll be, here's the key to the city, Donald. Let us know what you're going to do. It's about to be the 53rd state at this point. And the Cuban people will just take, I can't even tell you how big the parties are going to be in South Florida.
I had a brief update on Operation Epic Fury. Today, the United States military continues to carry out large-scale combat operations in Iran to eliminate the grave threats posed to America by this terrible terrorist regime. Following our obliteration of Iran's nuclear program in Operation Midnight Hammer a short while ago, we warned Iran not to make any attempt to rebuild at a different location because they were unable to use the ones that we so powerfully blew up. But they ignored those warnings and refused to cease their pursuit of nuclear weapons. In addition, the regime's conventional ballistic missile program was growing rapidly and dramatically, and this posed a very clear, colossal threat to America and our forces stationed overseas.
Now, what he's telling you is why they say pretty much the same reason Marco Rubio is saying it posed a threat. Was it imminent? Were they going to launch stuff? That's not how it goes anymore. The problem that I've said quite a few times, the problem that the media has and the problem that the Democrats have is they keep comparing this guy to previous presidents because the other ones didn't do anything. And so it's like, it's okay. We're going to keep shipping buckets of cash to these people, and we're going to make sure the Ayatollah is okay because we don't want him to do anything. You know what the biggest thing I saw today, which really didn't get a whole lot of press? Maybe some of you don't know this. A bunch of the yahoos decided they were going to go ahead, protest, and take over the United States Embassy in Pakistan. Do you know what happened to these people? They got mowed down by the Marines. Something like 25 of them are dead and a bunch of other ones are wounded. When would you have ever seen another president do that? When would you have seen another president that would say, no, you are not going to kick in the doors and come into this embassy. This is United States property. And if you're firing at us, guess what's going to happen? And so some of these nut jobs were actually shooting at the embassy. At which point the Marines go, do they not know we're armed? Oh, well, they're about to find out. And they tore them up. And of course, a couple people were like, oh my God, I can't believe you shot all those people. You F.A., you F.O. Why would you walk up to a Marine and shoot at him? But I've looked around today. I don't know if I'm breaking news to you, but not many people talked about it. I can't show it because of the guidelines here. They don't like you seeing people like getting wasted. But the Marines, someone said, shoot them. All right, this is going to be easy. Pop, 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 pop. Oh, they're falling. Let the bodies hit the floor. Did you know that today? Did you know that the Marines in Pakistan opened up on a bunch of people who tried to go full Benghazi on us? They thought it was a different president. They thought it was Hillary. They thought, that no one's going to do anything when we kick in the doors and throw Molotov cocktails. Let's go ahead and, oh, are you hurt? Oh, I'm hurt. It's a very gory video, so be careful if you find it. But we opened up fire on a bunch of hoodlums, some who were armed, shooting at the soldiers because they thought this was Benghazi. No, they're not going to do anything. They won't call any help in. Well, guess what happened? You F around with this president, you get the horns.
The regime already had missiles capable of hitting Europe and our bases, both local and overseas, and would soon have had missiles capable of reaching our beautiful America. The purpose of this fast-growing missile program was to shield their nuclear weapon development and make it extraordinarily difficult for anyone to stop them from making these highly forbidden by us nuclear weapons. We were the ones that were complaining. We were the ones that wanted it stopped. But everybody was behind us. They just didn't have the courage to say so. An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be an intolerable threat to the Middle East, but also to the American people, our country itself.
Interesting last sentence, well, maybe next to last sentence, when he said that the other people were worried too, but they were afraid. And I thought to myself when I heard that, what the hell were they afraid of? You're the president of this country. You're the president of that country. Oh, I know what you're afraid of. You let a gazillion of these people into your cities, and now you can't control them, and you were scared they're going to light up your entire town. Talking to you, London. Talking to you, Spain. These countries let all these people take over, and now they're afraid. Well, let Trump do it. They know he's crazy. I can't really do anything. I support him, but I can't do anything because they might blow up my city. Well, too bad for you. You're afraid. If you are afraid as a leader, then what you have done is abdicated the power of your office. If people are afraid to act because of, people are going to uprise, then you don't have any power as a leader. You're owned. And thank God President Trump is here to let everybody know, I ain't afraid.
One of the things, Brett, that is different now, also partly because of the Abraham Accords and then again, the October 7th attacks by Iran and its proxies against Israel, is that you have the Middle East in a united position against Iran. And this is that is so different from how it's been in the past. And I know you talked to a lot of people in the region. What's the latest on that?
Just talked to some diplomats and some leaders from overseas in that region. It is a united front. And I wouldn't be surprised if there are counter-offensive measures responding to the Iranian attacks that hit some of those Middle East allies in coming days. You saw a statement from the GCC, the Gulf Cooperation Council, that includes, UAE and Saudi Arabia and Oman and Qatar and Kuwait. They are all saying that they are poised to respond with aggressive tactics to what Iran has done. Remember that hundreds and hundreds of drones and missiles and attacks have hit the Gulf Arab allies.
Notice the difference is what President Trump was saying. Notice what he's saying. They've already been hit. Now they're going to respond after stuff got blown up, after hotels were burned up, after airports were bombed. Now they're pissed off and they're going to respond because they did exactly what the Democrats wanted us to do. Wait, you don't have an imminent threat. Boom. Okay, now you can do something. You see the idiocy of that? You see right now that all these countries, all the people in the Middle East are like, all right, game on now. No, game on should have been from the beginning. We don't have the stats on how many of these people in these other countries have died because of this, but we've seen the videos of things blowing up, the airport, hotels, flying drones in. Now you're ready to do something. Yeah, we did what the Democrats said. We wait till we get hit. Why didn't you do what Trump did? Oh, we can't do that. We just can't slap a hoe. We can't slap a hoe. No, we had to wait. Does that make sense to any of you? Does it make sense to, even if people are trolling the Democrats, does it make sense to you? We should wait until, I don't know, they blow up LaGuardia. All right, now we can hit them. We want to go through, I think we already lived through it. We want to go through Pearl Harbor again. Remember? Oh, we're okay. Boom. Oh, now you done effed up. Now we're going to have to go over there and get involved and drop something on you. No. The preemptive is better. The preemptive saves lives. The preemptive lets everybody else know, don't F around. They can't stand the masculinity. They can't stand the cojones. They can't stand forcefulness. If you get hit, then we'll have a meeting and then we'll have a war powers resolution and we'll decide if you get to respond. Hell no. I want a guy out there who's ready to don't mess with us.
From Iran in recent days. And they've put a lot of those down, but we've seen that some of those have gotten through. It has stiffened the spine of the Gulf Arab states, to your point, Dana, and I think that we haven't seen that ever.
No, British.
We haven't seen that ever. I want you to think back, those of you who might be old enough, or maybe you're history buffs, but there was a guy back in Germany in, I don't know, the 40s, who was like, these people aren't going to do anything. We're just going to roll the tanks through and just steam in and just take over. Hey, man, there's some guys walking down the street and they got guns and stuff, and they're like, get out your house. We own this now. They waited. All of them. France, London, boom, boom. What do we do? America, no, we're not coming. Nope, no, that's on you. They decide to bomb Pearl Harbor. We'll be right there. We have seen, history tells you, don't respond. You have to be you have to show that you are worthy of, taking the fight to somebody else.
In the region. He says, we were not part of the initial strikes. We're not going to join the offensive action right now, but we will support the collective self-defense. What exactly does that mean? Which regions, which bases?
As far as I understand, there has been a clear ask from the U.S. side to make sure the United States to make sure that the U.S. can make use of bases and other enablement operations in Europe and all over the region, including in the Middle East, to make sure that they support what the U.S. is doing, at least enabling it. That means access, it means logistics, it means defending key U.S. interests. And here,
in case you don't know, this is Mark Rutte, I believe that's how R-U-T-T-E, Mark Rutte. He's the Secretary General of NATO. So all those people that President Trump said, you got to pay us money, otherwise we're not going to. Now they're all like, yes, whatever you need, Donald. Let us know what you need. Thank you, Donald, for liberation. Yes, thank you. Yes.
The Brits needed to get a legal case done. They did so last night. Of course, everybody would have loved this to happen a couple of days earlier. But hey, the good news is here that there is no a shiver of light between us. The Europeans, Canada, Mark Carney, the United States, the American president, all for one for all, because everybody supports here in Europe the fact that Khamenei is gone, that the nuclear capability is gone, that the ballistic missile program has been now degraded, which was a big threat for Europe, for Israel, for the whole region. We see countries like the UAE, Bahrain, Oman and other Gulf nations now under attack, indiscriminate attacks against innocent civilians living in Dubai and in other proud capitals in the region. So we are dealing with a regime in Iran which is terrorist by nature, which is exporting chaos to the region, and that's why everybody supports what is being done now here under President Trump's leadership. It's crucial. It's taking out this capability of this regime in Tehran to create this chaos in the region and being a threat to Europe.
All right, Mr. Secretary, we're out of time, but you got to do some work on Turkey and Spain. They seem to be lagging behind. They don't seem to get it, but I know you can convince them who the right side is. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So now, after they see things blowing up in other people's countries, they all want to get behind the United States. I don't mind that. You know why? The words, they get behind us. We are the lead dog. They are showing acquiescence. They are letting the world know that this guy, this one man, has changed the pecking order in the world. In the last 72 hours, however long it's been, they now know that's the dude. That's him. He is him. We are going to get behind him. Everything okay, Donald? Imagine what you're just hearing right now. This is the Secretary General of NATO. And NATO is like, we need to do whatever we need to do to support Donald Trump in America. Completely different. We haven't heard this kind of stuff before. In fact, they tried to do everything so that America wouldn't be strong. Again, as I've been saying, this isn't supposition. They're saying it right from their mouths. Now, we know they're probably turncoats, and if it wasn't the fact the way it is right now, they would go right back. And which is why we have to continue to win elections. Because they're going to go whichever way is most advantageous for them. Why didn't they blow up Iran? Why did they wait until we did? You guys are right friggin' there. But you had to wait. You had to wait till the big dog showed up. Which isn't a bad thing. We are the world's power. We are ready to take on anybody who wants to mess with the Western Hemisphere. Does that bother you? I don't know. Tuck it and let's go. It's a difference. Everything is different except on X, where you've got liberal nuts, rhinos, black pillars. Oh, I can't believe he said no wars. This isn't a war. Even Marco just said it. This isn't a war. This is a schoolyard brawl, and we're here to kick some ass and go home for dinner. Those forever wars were fake. I told you about that a couple days ago. What we're seeing right now is somebody coming in with overwhelming force and kicking some ass. And then he'll take off and say, we're done. We achieved what we needed to do. Don't let me come back. Because he told him that once, remember? When he did the big bombing? Don't let me come back. You made me come back here. You made me come back, and now I got to just beat you really bad. Now I got to bomb all kinds of places. He told them, don't make me come back. They didn't want to listen. The Democrats didn't want to listen. All they wanted to talk about was Epstein. Oh, it's a deflection. Shut up. Oh, gosh, it's crazy. Hey, Medicare is confusing. As someone who recently turned 65 myself, I can confirm this. Keeping track of enrollment periods, understanding all your options, and making sure you're on the right plan takes too much time and energy. We're all busy. So I'd like having Chapter do all that for me. Medicare scams, corrupt agents, and bloated insurance companies. It's easy to make mistakes that can cost you thousands. That's why I am happy I work with the guys at Chapter. They're honest, they're really honest, and they're the only Medicare advisor that looks at every plan nationwide, helping people save an average of $1,100 a year. It's $100 per month. People are relieved when they talk to Chapter. They understand that not only can you save money, but if you want a better plan, you can get that as well. They won't be just getting you into something that you don't want to buy. You have full control, and their support is completely free. One 20-minute phone call. That's all you have to do. So if you're turning 65 soon or have questions about your Medicare coverage, call them at 475-328-3545 to get the most out of Medicare. Most people, including people here in the Fanfare family, have just wished they called sooner. So you can call them, or you can go to askchapter.org/Barry to book a one-on-one consultation at no charge and with no obligation. All right, let's continue.
John, President promised to keep the United States out of foreign wars, but at this point, no modern president has ordered more military strikes against more countries than Donald Trump.
And I have to tell you, George, as I spoke to the president, he sounded to me like a president who feels invincible. He talked about the military strike he ordered last summer against the nuclear program in Iran. He talked about the operation to take out Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela and what he sees as a wildly successful attack now underway against Iran. He told me, quote, "Nobody could have done this but me, and you know that." In fact, George, he suggested that the success in Venezuela made him less likely to accept concessions in Iran that were offered in the final round of talks.
All right, now, so that's important. No deals. Here's your deal. Put the guns down and come out with your hands up and you won't die. There's your deal. That's it. The time for negotiation has passed. Now you've got basically one choice. The other choice we're going to dictate to you. Surrender, Dorothy, or die. That's it. That goes against the grain of every liberal that you will see. Every single one of them online. They cannot take that. They cannot take the fact that somebody says do this or die. Even these blowhards in the media. It's like, wait a minute. Did he really tell them that? Yeah, those are your choices. How many times have we had presidents who didn't act that way? And what happened? We got taken advantage of, or worse. And now we got a president who's like, I'm done talking. You're wasting my time here.
He told me that a year ago he would have accepted what the Iranians offered, but, quote, "we have become spoiled."
But the president didn't offer a lot of clarity on what comes next.
No, he told me that he had been in touch with one member of the regime. He wouldn't say who it was, one surviving member. He suggested that before the strikes, he had identified possible candidates within the Iranian government who could take over the way Delcy Rodriguez did.
Okay, notice what they did there. They're so good at it. They tried to make it appear as though Trump doesn't know what he's doing. Well, he didn't mention who the successor would be. No, no, he's not telling you. They're trying to brainwash the audience almost as if Trump doesn't know what he's doing. So who's supposed to take over? What's the plan here? How about none of your damn business? That's the plan. That's what they're not getting. And so everything, once he said that, is all bullshit. So you're telling me, Fred, that he doesn't really have a plan right now. No, what he's telling you is he's not telling you. He's not giving ABC News, George Slopadopoulos, as he says, he's not telling you. Of course he knows, but that's not what the media tries to do. The media tries to think that Trump's a bumbling, stumbling idiot. Oh, he didn't really mention anything.
After Maduro was taken out in Venezuela, but he said the attack was so successful, it knocked out most of the candidates. It's not going to be anybody that we were thinking of because they are all dead. Second or third place is dead. As for how long this is going to go on, he said it could be he said he was planning for 4 or 5 weeks, could be longer, could be shorter.
And it's pretty clear.
That whole report meant nothing. So how long is this going to go on? He said it could be 4 or 5 weeks, could be shorter. So back to you, George, because I don't have a flipping idea what the hell's going on, but I tried to make it sound good. That's where our media is right now. They try to pontificate as if they know. They don't have a clue. And you'll have people talking about, oh, looks like it's going to be about a 4 or 5 week campaign. Who told you that? Well, the guy on ABC News. No, he didn't. He said it could be 4 or 5 weeks. It could be tomorrow. None of your damn business. So how do you put credence in people who try to pontificate and be authoritative as if they know when they admit to you they don't have a friggin' clue? None. Big networks, no clue.
This is personal for the president.
Well, look, in 2024, while Biden was president, U.S. intelligence believed that Iran was plotting to kill then-candidate Donald Trump. The Secret Service beefed up his security detail. Other precautionary measures were taken. That experience was clearly on his mind as he ordered the attack that killed the supreme leader. He told me, I got him before he got me. They tried twice. Well, I got him first.
Hold on. So I wanted to freeze right there. If that's a quote. I got him before he got me. They tried twice. I got him first. What have I been saying to you guys all along? This man waited, and he waited, and he waited, and he waited, and he didn't forget, and he didn't forget, and he didn't forget, and he blew the shit out of the Ayatollah Assahola in 12 hours. So you're telling me that the president who quoted that to ABC News, he wanted you to know that. Let me tell you something. They tried to get me, I got them. What does that tell you as a Trump supporter right now? That the arrows in his quiver are just sitting there ready to be pulled out at any moment for the people who tried to do things to him. He waited, and he waited, and he waited. He probably was pacing the White House floors. Is it time? No, Mr. President, sir, we're not ready. And he waited. Pete, we ready? No, not yet, sir. Okay, what are we doing next? Okay, I'll go to dinner with Melania, or we'll go have a pizza or something. We'll go to Whataburger. Dan, Raising Cane, we ready? Yes, sir. Do it. He tried to do me. I did him first. I did him in because I knew he was going to do me. So all these people out there who think that Trump, there's no arrest, nothing happening, Pam Bondi, blah, 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 blah. I've said it many times. The man knows they impeached him twice. He knows they tried to throw him in jail across the country. He knows that they kicked in the front doors of Mar-a-Lago. He knows that they went through his wife's underwear drawer. He knows they tried to take his property in New York and his businesses in New York. He knows that they tried to do everything possible to his friends and his family. And you think he's just letting it go. After seeing this, do you really think at this point that he's just letting all that stuff go? You have to have a huge memory, I mean, a huge fantasy of thoughts at this point to think this guy's not coming hard for these people. You really do. You have talked yourself into oblivion when that's what he said. That sentence that he said in quotes was specifically to let everybody know, I'm coming for you. I didn't forget shit. I'm coming. Remember one of the songs he plays at his rallies once in a while? Obviously, Nessun Dorma. Well, the other one he plays is, hold on, I'm coming. And as I have heard these songs, and you guys have heard them too, they probably didn't come together for you in any sort of concrete way of him planning. And now you've seen the quote, I got him before he got me. Got him. Done. He's toast. He's dust. Yet we're supposed to believe with the panicans out there that, he's not going to do anything. That takes more fantasy than us believing something's coming. Because he keeps telling you, I'm coming. Hold on. Nessun Dorma. Wow.
Colonel, thanks, brother.
This is the third day of Operation Roaring Lion, the operation the Israeli army and the state of Israel set out to, with our great friends, the United States of America and President Trump, to thwart existential threats to Israel and great threats to America and the entire world. When I stand here in a place that was bombarded by the terrorists in Tehran against innocent civilians, you see the difference. The tyrants of Tehran target civilians. We target the tyrants of Tehran to protect civilians. I've said for many years that they threaten not only Israel and not only America. They chant death to Israel, death to America. That's their ultimate target. But I said that they would also target those in between, that they would target Europe.
You see, that's another thing. The people in Europe didn't want to listen. You've heard of this term Stockholm Syndrome, where you fall in love with your captor. And I think the people in Europe just figured out, we'll be nice to the Ayatollah, and, these idiots won't do anything to us. And then when they have the Christmas killing where they're driving trucks into the festival, but let's not strike back. It's just some crazy guy. And meanwhile, they keep not understanding that the fact that you're not with them meant they were going to kill you. He stated it many times. Infidels. If you didn't have a turban on and if your wife walked around in a dress, that's not going to work with these people. You let them in your country. They took over your downtown areas in London, and now you don't know what to do because you think you're appeasing these people. You weren't appeasing them. They were just waiting and biding their time so that they could do to you what they've always planned to do. And Bibi, he's been saying it. They're going to come for you. Oh, no, we're doing right. We're letting them all in the country. We're giving them money. We're giving them food. We're giving them a place to live. And they're breeding like babies, and we're paying for the babies and everything else. And it still wasn't enough. They're going to come and kill you all. Not my words, their words, like Bibi says.
They did. And if this regime, this terrorist regime of the kind we've never seen in the world, if they get nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them, ballistic missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, they will threaten all of humanity. So we set out to...
You see, one of the problems the liberals and some of the Democrats and rhinos don't understand, or they're just playing stupid, is if you wanted to wait until there was, an imminent threat, it's too late. Because while that thing is up in the air and coming to you, kiss the babies, write out a will, and if somebody can find a will, they'll take care of whoever didn't get hit. But that imminent attack would become a real attack, and you would not have time to respond. You would turn into pink mist.
Protect ourselves. but in so doing, we protect many others. And I want to say special thanks to our great friend and a great leader of the world, Donald Trump, for joining us in this crucial effort to save the world. Thank you.
Each day, sir, this war.
The president, in an interview with the Daily Mail, with the Daily Mail that came out just a few minutes ago, said this is going to be a 1-month operation. Okay. He also said in an interview with The Atlantic that was published this morning that here's the Daily Mail headline. Our friend Nikki Schwab did the interview. Trump breaks silence on U.S. troops killed in Iran war. President gives bleak warning to Americans and reveals 4-week plan in candid interview at the Daily Mail. So he told the Daily Mail 4 weeks. I think that might have been a little expectation setting. I'll get back to that too. Here's what he said to The Atlantic. He said the Iranians want to talk and he's ready to talk. I'm deeply skeptical that there are going to be talks that work. I think if the Iranians did convey that they wanted to talk, the president, as a man who would prefer a settlement to more war, will talk or say he will. But I'm quite confident from my conversations over the weekend that the president is not going to accept anything less than basically abject surrender.
Duh. Exactly. You can all say all your pontifications all you want. Bottom line is, all he's going to accept is complete surrender. There's nothing to negotiate. The only thing negotiating is where you're going to live after you surrender. That's it. Whether you're going to be in jail, what they're going to do with you, you have to give up. All the interviews and everything else, at least Mark Halperin here knows there's no room here. No, which is freaking out so many people that the ultimatum is on the table. Die or surrender. And then you still might die if we find out you did some stuff, but at least you got a chance.
Giving up nuclear, giving up ballistic missiles, dismantling terror, and changing the government. I don't think he's going to give up with that. And I don't think the Iranians would offer that. And I also don't think, based on the conversations I have, that the United States government trusts the Iranians very much to negotiate in good faith. So while the president said this, and while it could happen, I'm very skeptical of that. Okay. I'm also want to put a line here down. The president's goal to use the military, eliminate nuclear, eliminate missiles, eliminate the leadership, government, religious, paramilitary, military, police state, eliminate them all. And we'll never know the full story of what Israeli and U.S. special operations are doing on the ground, but a lot of bombs going down, a lot of missiles coming in.
We're never going to know the real story. Thank you for your honest assessment. So everything else these people are telling you is nothing but supposition. They don't know. And no good general, no good strategist tells you what they're going to do. He probably gave 6 or 7 different interviews to various different people, and none of them know what exactly is going to happen because he wouldn't tell you. And the only part that you know is when he has said no deals.
Will the president end this conflict and consider it a success if there's no regime change? I believe he will. He said in the video again today what he said in the first video. Iranian people, we're opening the door for you to change your government. Do it. I'm quite confident the U.S. government and the Israelis are doing secret things to try to figure out who the new leader could be. But in terms of overt regime change fostering, that's not. I don't believe that's happening and will happen. And I don't believe that the president will continue the mission to nation build or regime change. That's my sense from things based on talking to folks. Now,
I just want to tell you something. It is 6:45, and all these videos, the depositions from Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton have now been released. Timely. Now they're being released, and basically I've been already seeing some of the people out there saying it exonerates Trump, and they must have done something and altered the videos. Everything that's happening right now is happening for a reason. And now all these people are going to run over here and run to Epstein, not realizing they're being fed. They're being given this stuff like little lab rats. Everybody's going to want to watch every second of the Hillary Bill depositions. when in fact, nobody cares. We did a poll here, it was less than 1%. When I was in Washington, nobody talked about it. So now I almost think that they just put up a smokescreen. So at this point, people don't watch what is about to happen next. I'm serious. Something big is about to happen. Marco Rubio, well, we've been on this show, released this video about 30 minutes ago.
At the Department of State, our number one priority is the safety and the security of American citizens everywhere in the world. Now, with what's going on in the Middle East with Operation Epic Fury and the cowardly attacks that we're seeing from Iran against Gulf countries, I wanted to take this chance to speak directly to Americans who are in the Middle East about the work we are doing to try to keep you safe. So immediately following the beginning of this operation, at my direction, the State Department activated a 24/7 task force, surging personnel and resources necessary to help provide American citizens with up-to-the-minute safety and security information. Now, in order to receive these updates from the nearest U.S. embassy or consulate, you have to register with the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program. You have to register with STEP, and here's where you do it. You go to step.state.gov. That's step.state.gov and register so we can reach you. We also encourage Americans abroad to follow our security updates for U.S. citizens channel on WhatsApp and follow @TravelGov on social media as well. The latest alerts are also available on travel.state.gov. That's our website, travel.state.gov. Finally, Americans in the Middle East, you can reach the Department of State 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at the following phone number: 1-202-501-4444. That's 1-202-501-4444.
Get out. Basically, that's what they're doing right now, telling everybody to get out. And so all the rabbits are going to chase the carrot over here and try to look at every second of every Epstein file that they're coming out with these depositions. Meanwhile, he's telling everybody, get out. And so I think, I don't know, but it's just kind of odd all this stuff comes at the same time. Let's continue.
Look, I think in any form of conflict, there's going to be a risk, but I want to be very clear that Iran has been responsible for killing thousands of Americans over the last 40 years. As a result of what the president decided to do while operating within his Article 2 authorities, I don't know if many people know this, but they already tried to assassinate the president. They've already killed Americans, and they're specifically in the southern belt region of Iran, their missile program was a direct threat to our service members, and as you are seeing, they are now actively engaging, seeking to not just hit the United States, but their neighboring countries, over 9 of them, as a result of this. And so, they're obviously going to be hitting back, but let's be clear, we were trying to negotiate. They were stubborn. They were completely arrogant. They would not agree to eliminating their nuclear enrichment program, even though we offered to give them a permanent supply of nuclear fuel for energy. And so this is a result of their poor leadership. I think at any point, as Secretary Rubio stated yesterday, the United States is willing to continue those negotiations, but that would be up to them.
And as you...
Yeah. What do you think she knows? It just, as I've been watching news reports, and I just keep thinking to myself, the only people who know what's happening are Trump. You've seen the picture, the people in that room, Susie Wiles, President Trump, John Radcliffe, who's become a complete ghost, Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, and probably 1 or 2 other people. When you look at those pictures in the room, I didn't even see Caroline Leavitt in there. So what the hell does Anna Paulina Luna know? Nothing. Everything we're seeing is people trying to, position themselves as though they got the information, and it's complete silence. Nobody would possibly give you operational information. Everything they're doing on both sides is guessing and trying to get in front of cameras. I'll be the first one to tell you, I have no idea what's coming. I just can't wait. I got myself an extra bag of popcorns with FAO butter on it, just so I can sit back and go, okay, what's about to happen next? Well, the one thing, he said, you die or you surrender. That's your negotiation.
To me, the thing that really stands out, most importantly, is that nobody has come to the Islamic regime's defense. Not Russia, not China. We thought that we were facing this great axis of evil that was uniting as a front to create this multipolar universe in which the United States was no longer a superpower, and that...
Who's we? Who is we? We thought that this was going to happen. Who is we? The only people who knew what was going to happen was President Trump and the people in that room. The people he has been talking to for, a year, who you have no idea, none of us do, what they were talking about. President Trump is supposed to be going next month to go see Xi Jinping. He's been talking to Putin. So this was already probably done. Here's what we're going to do, Xi. Here's what we're going to do, Vlad. And I'm going to do it. Because you don't play poker at that level. You're basically telling China right now, we're going to shut down your entire oil supply. You're not going to get nothing. Because that's essentially what they did. But before he did it, he went and did stuff with Venezuela. So if I were a guessing man, if I had a crystal ball here, I'm waiting for the announcement that so much Venezuelan oil is now going to China. Watch what happens in this whole geopolitical thing right now, because there's no way Xi Jinping sat on his butt to let somebody cut off, 70% of their oil. There had to have been a backup plan. Those are fighting words. Wait a minute, you're taking all my oil? Somebody had to have talked to him and said, just chill, bro. We got you. At least that's what I think.
Turned out to be absolutely false. And what you can see from that is the larger picture of how the president is protecting the United States and setting us up for world dominance for generations to come. He is picking off our adversaries one by one, isolating them from each other and isolating them from their oil. Remember that 20% of China's oil came from either Venezuela or Iran. I mean, how are the Chinese supposed to take Taiwan now, minus 20% of their oil supply? So what we're really seeing here is, I'm calling it the locked-in presidency. He is just, every action he takes has not one, but 2 or 3 or 4 strategic advantages to strengthen the United States, to make us stronger, safer, and more prosperous, as Marco Rubio.
Prosperous, there's the word. Hey, Xi, you need to buy some oil? I just happen to have a whole bunch. What's it going to cost me? Well, here's what it's going to cost you. Now you get to negotiate with President Trump. You're not negotiating with the Ayatollah Assahola. Whole different ball game. All right, Donald, I need oil. All right, here's what we're going to do. You bring Vlad. Vlad, come in here. This is how we're going to divide up the world. Do I know this? No, but I'm thinking to myself, if I wanted the Western Hemisphere for myself, and I wanted to make sure none of these people mess with me, I'm going to take the other 2 big dogs and we're going to sit down and work this out. Now that there is nobody for you to dial in the Iranian palace, there's no phone lines. The only phone line you can call at this point is me. And so if all of this oil just went into the air and they're doing crazy things in the Strait of Hormuz, you can't be China with your diaper dropped. The only person you can possibly call at this point, because same thing with UAE and Saudi Arabia, if they can't get oil out of the Strait of Hormuz, they can't help you even if they wanted to. Which, here's a thought, maybe Trump knew that they would bomb the Strait of Hormuz. You think about that? You think that they could have disabled, missiles that were coming into the Strait of Hormuz? Or was it like, you know what, let's let them go ahead and bomb that because we know that's how they're going to retaliate because they're idiots. And once they go ahead and bomb the Straits of Hormuz, they're playing right into my chessboard. Think about that. everything that they've game planned. They have, we're going to come in. We got the bombers coming across the world, but we're going to leave the Straits of Hormuz vulnerable? No, that's on purpose. Go ahead and bomb that. Oh, thank you. You did it. So you clogged up all the oil over there. Yeah, great. Now what do? Now, if you're just put it this way, you're Xi Jinping, and you've just seen the oil over there spigot get turned off, and you know you've got X amount of time reserves, and you know that who knows what's going to happen over there. Who are you going to call? Not Ghostbusters. You're going to call Donald Trump. And how do I even feel stronger about that? If you knew that you wouldn't be able to get any oil because of what's going on in the Straits of Hormuz, would you not interject into the war and say, oh, we got to protect this? Thus far, you haven't heard a peep from China or Russia. Hands off. Why did China not react to protect the place where they get most of their oil from? Hey, I got a whole bunch down here in South America. I can help you out, bro. That's, again, my belief, because it doesn't make any sense that nobody knew, they didn't game plan out that the Straits of Hormuz were get blowed up.
Promised in his confirmation hearings. I think that's really what we're seeing.
The thing about Xi Jinping is he knows what Trump is doing, but he can't stop him.
So tell me more about what he knows what Trump is doing. And because I don't think everybody knows what Trump is doing. I don't think everybody's clear on that.
Well, the narrative is that Trump is sort of gone soft on China, and on certain things he has. But if you look, for instance, at the national security strategy, it's very clear that China is a high priority. It may not be the number one priority, which is the Western Hemisphere, but if you look through that short document, it's clear that China is foremost in President Trump's mind. So, for instance, towards the end of it, it talks about how the United States must not allow any hostile power, the phrase that it uses, to either close off the South China Sea or impose tolls on traffic over or on the South China Sea.
So they had all this game planned out. They knew they couldn't let people cause any problems. Don't mess around in the South China Sea. We need those lanes open. Now you're looking back, because this was an actual document Gordon Chang is talking about. The actual document said, don't start nothing, won't be nothing. Leave the South China Sea okay. Why would you want the South China Sea not to be hurt? Why would you not want to see anything happen? Oh, because that's where you're shipping the oil to. As you start looking at the strategic operation and what's going on, you got this big body of water that happens to be where they ship oil to, and they had already game planned out, don't mess with the South China Sea. Oh, really? Somebody's smart.
Well, there's only one country that fits that description, that has that ambition and has that power. So that's true when you look through the entire document. I believe that President Trump is going after the Chinese, and he's not doing it directly, but he is doing it indirectly, and he's cutting off their sources of support.
Bingo. Gordon Chang, if you haven't followed him, very, very intelligent. I believe he is Chinese or Chinese American. And now people are looking at this giant board and going, okay, so the South China Sea is okay. The Straits of Hormuz, not so much. And everything over here is going to be okay. Which mob boss do we have to talk in Greece? How are we going to get this done? Because, you know, the Caputo family and the Vincenzo family, they control the South China Sea. Okay, we got to go to him. We got to go to Trump.
oil, for instance, Venezuela supplies maybe 3 to 4% of China's imported oil, but Iran was somewhere between 15 and 23%, depending on the year. And that's important because when you put those two numbers together, you get a significant portion of China's imported oil has now been taken off the board.
But it hasn't. If you got one country that's been giving you 3 to 4, and you got another country that's been giving you 15 or so, but now this country can't give you 15, who's going to give you the other, 15 back? The country that's been getting 3 to 4. If the capacity in Venezuela matches what they're doing in the millions of barrels per day, then this guy over here who you've already been buying from can solve your needs. You see that? He just said it. They've been getting it all from these people, but they have bought a certain amount from here. All right, well, let's just buy more from them.
Yeah. President Trump may allow the Venezuelans to sell oil to China, but not at the heavily discounted rates that China was benefiting from. And China.
I heard this, and light bulbs started popping. What do you mean allow? Did you hear that? President Trump might allow Venezuela to sell some oil to China, but not at the rate they was. There's a new sheriff in town. Now you got to pay up. So we'll sell you some more oil. We know that you're backed up. The Strait of Hormuz, it's a big problem. Don't go in and fix it. Don't do that. We'll just sell it to you over here. And he's the only guy who I heard was saying the same thing I was thinking. Like, look, this is too strategic.
These factories are now dependent on cheap oil. Well, they're not getting it anymore. If they get their oil, they're going to have to pay market prices.
What would happen if China had to buy much more oil at market prices from Venezuela? How much of that money is going to be flowing to us? Big picture, people. Big picture.
Joining us now to put in perspective is somebody that might be leading Iran in the future, and his family has led Iran in the past. Let's bring in Reza Pahlavi, the exiled crown prince of Iran. He's making his pitch to lead the transition to democracy, pledging free and fair election. Mr. Pahlavi, thanks so much for joining us. Your thoughts, your thoughts right now at this hour. We're 48 hours in.
First, I want to share with you the sense of jubilation that millions of Iranians and the diaspora around the world have celebrated the death of the top henchman or monster of this regime, Ali Khamenei, and we thank President Trump for having brought us to a point of thinking that now we have a real chance to take over our country. This intervention was really what equalized the playing field for us. This is something we've been arguing all this time. People were asking for this intervention. The intervention did occur. So now we believe that the end is very near, and the opportunity to take our country back and bring it back to the right path is now available to us. The Iranian people are now mobilizing for it. I've cautioned them to wait for the entire campaign to pan out, so it's safer for them then to re-enter the streets, and hopefully this will happen very soon.
So here is the foreign minister talking about his reality on the ground, or the one he wanted to relay. I think it was on Face the Nation. Watch.
Well, I think now there is a procedure set in our constitution that when we lose the supreme leader, there would be a new one elected by the Assembly of Experts. And now we have started the procedure. There is a transitional council of the president, the head of judiciary, and one jurist of the Guardian Council. These three would decide, are in charge right now, and they will actually arrange the election of the new leader by the Assembly of Experts. And the members of the Assembly of Experts are elected themselves by the people, every 4 years.
How do you feel about the transition after wiping out 48? They said no big deal.
Look, this is obviously a desperate signs of a regime that is trying to convince the world that, yes, we have continuity, yes, we have a system. I mean, look at the writing on the wall. The regime that has for a long time lost complete legitimacy, at the advent of this massacre of last month, has led to leaders around the world to conclude that this regime can no longer be legitimate based on what it does. There's a shift in foreign policy and attitude vis-à-vis this regime that until now, for 4 decades, was treated with an attitude of appeasement and engaging them, hoping that they will change their behavior. This time is different. Right. This time the world recognizes that the source of everything that has led us to this point, of all instability, radicalism, terrorism, nuclear threat, and what have you, is embodied in the system that is on the verge of collapse.
Mr. Pahlavi,
the opportunity to cut the snake's head and be done with them.
There's 91 people. They said there's 91 million people in Iran. How many support you and your family?
I think if you refer to recent demonstrations in Iran, you will see that people by the millions have chanted my name, have asked me to step in, to be there for them, which is exactly what I'm doing.
So if you guys don't know, I've shown you some clips of this guy quite a few times. He is, I think, the son of the former Shah, and he's the front runner, or so it seems, to be taking over Iran. But they keep nominating people, and then it's like whack-a-mole. They nominate somebody, and then poof, they go away too. And so they're starting to realize that I don't know how many people are going to want this job. I don't know how many people are going to want to step in and be the next Ayatollah. It seems to be a bad career move for people by trying to be the next Ayatollah. And at the same time, you've got their military, which are now wondering what's going to fall out of the sky, what's going to happen when I go home. And so you got a lot of those people in the military who are like, man, this ain't going to work. And I can't get behind all this, which is scary.
I know I enjoy great support within Iran and within the diaspora. I've been able to coalesce the Iranian activists, political leaders, representative of ethnic groups, monarchists and Republicans, people on the left, right, and center, all those who believe that we have to have a future democratic system, the final form of it to be decided by the people. Right. We believe in a process that will lead us to free and fair elections to determine that. I'm here to lead that movement, to bring a stable transition, to make sure that every step is taken the right way, and I have a plan for all of that.
The president said he planned on this operation being 4 weeks. When do you plan on going back?
Look, if you were to give me the opportunity to say to the Iranian people and the world, when is it that I go back there? It will be the first minute I get the opportunity to do that. And that has to be, of course, orchestrated properly. I'm ready to go there as soon as possible. I would like to be there, whether it is before the regime collapses or right after the regime collapses. It is important for me to be among my compatriots to fight the final battle and bring it to fruition.
All right. His family was exiled back in 1979. Iran has not had a stable day since. Reza Pahlavi, best of luck as your quest to go back and pick up where your dad left off. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You see, one of the problems with Mr. Pahlavi is most of the people in the country at this point have never lived as free people. When they were deposed and told you had to leave, or they killed other people, 1979, I was in high school. At this point, no, 1979, I was in college. So we're talking almost 50 years. None of the people you see in the street know what freedom is like. Can you imagine 50 years from now, the Democrats have taken power and none of the kids, nobody knows what freedom is like? That's what they're going to be dealing with in Iran. Whatever government is put in place doesn't know freedom. How many men there have gotten used to subjugating their women? And now all of a sudden, they're cheering for freedom. And they're like, wait a second, she gets to talk? Yeah. She has the same rights as I do? I can't even imagine what the education process is going to be like to get some of these people to understand what freedom really is. We take it, unfortunately, for granted. We take it, unfortunately, that it just comes as par for the course. Imagine you never had freedom. To me, I'm going to equate what they're going through, although it's nothing like it, but I said it yesterday, or was it earlier today? Imagine never having to pay income tax. Imagine prosperity being there for you. And many people in the chat, many people on our side have never experienced it. So think about it that way. What would life be like if all of a sudden you never pay taxes again? And you just had to get used to not budgeting a certain way. Hey, honey, we all of a sudden have a windfall here. I don't know. I don't know if a lot of people would understand that. Because every single thing about your life, they're trying to turn it back. They're trying to increase the taxes. They're trying to make the white Christian person be the bad guy, make Christianity bad. They're trying to be Iran. They are trying to force you to give up the things that you hold dear. Oh, you can't talk that way. Oh, and if you want to be playing girl sports, and if you want to lop off your junk, all these things that we hold dear as Americans, they've been trying a concerted effort to destroy. And every couple months, one of them, today Bernie Sanders came out with another one saying we got to tax billionaires. Well, for what? You notice they never say that part. What are you taxing people for? What if you just stop spending it on crap? They can't talk to you about that. They have no way to even discuss that. And I think one of the problems here is a lot of people don't understand what life can be like with being prosperous. If you've never truly enjoyed prosperity, then you don't know what it is. And so these people who are cheering over in Iran, you have to wonder, hey, you understand what freedom means? Freedom means you got to get your ass up and go to work. Yeah, no, the government's not going to take care of you. We'll give you opportunity. We'll show you what to do. But we got a whole bunch of oil. We can all be prosperous together. I can't imagine what our country would be like if we didn't have to pay taxes. Speaking of taxes, my last sponsor of the day is Tax Network. Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, or have you filed every year but you still owe money? Did you retire and suddenly get hit with a tax bill you didn't expect? Are you a business owner with messy books and a balance you can't afford? Maybe you pulled money from your 401k or IRA early, and now the IRS wants that penalty. They want you to give it to them. However your tax issue started, the outcome is the same. Your balance is not going to go down. Penalties grow, interest compounds, and many of you are about to owe again for this coming tax year. With no plan in place, stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing and call Tax Network USA. The IRS is not waiting. The IRS is enforcing collections through wage garnishments, bank levies, and property seizures. They can even file for you without your consent. This is where Tax Network USA comes in. With over 15 years in business, there hasn't been a tax case they haven't seen or resolved. They specialize in tax controversies and help taxpayers nationwide get back on track by resolving unfiled returns once and for all. Whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million, their team has resolved over $1 billion in tax debt. They can do the same for you, but you have to call them now. They are offering a free investigative call with the IRS. After that investigation, they put a clear case plan in place to resolve your tax problem and get you back on track. This is about using your legal rights to take control before the government sets the terms for you. Don't wait for another IRS letter or a frozen bank account. Call 800-958-1000, 800-958-1000, or visit tnusa.com/Barry, or click the link in the description below. I'll be right back in 90 seconds and we'll finish off for tonight.
Back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, President Trump is out here trolling Democrats and the media once again. He posted this about an hour ago. Take a look at this. The White House Correspondents Association has asked me very nicely to be the honoree at this year's dinner, a long and storied tradition since it began in 1924 under the President Calvin Coolidge, in honor of the nation's 250th birthday, and the fact that these correspondents now admit that I am truly one of the greatest presidents in the history of our country. Oh man, he sticks the knife in and just turns it. The GOAT, he calls himself, according to many. It will be my honor to accept their invitation and work to make it the greatest, hottest, and most spectacular dinner of any kind ever, because the press was extraordinarily bad to me. Fake news and all. Right from the beginning of my first term, I boycotted the event and never went as honoree. However, I look forward to being with everyone this year. Hopefully it will be something very special. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So he's going to go to the dinner this year, which would be fun. Obviously, we will broadcast that and have that for you. And then he also posted this as well. Thanks, SV. He posted this and said, the radical left Democrats, a party that is completely lost its way, are complaining bitterly about the very necessary and important attack by the United States and Israel on Iran. What most people don't understand is that they are only complaining because I did it. And if I didn't do it, they would be screaming, why didn't Trump attack Iran? He's true there. He should do it immediately. There's nothing surprising about this. It's the same people that the other night at the State of the Union address wouldn't stand for anybody. They're gonna have to deal with that for months, including a mother who lost her beautiful daughter to an illegal alien, a great and brave helicopter pilot who got the Congressional Medal of Honor, or a 100-year-old veteran warrior whose bravery is legend. The fact is, whatever I do, they will be on the opposite side. These people are sick, crazy, and demented. But America, despite them all, is now bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Make America great again, President Donald J. Trump. So he took 2 shots at the media and the Democrats. Does that look like a guy who's not confident? Does that look like a guy who's worried? Nope. Been telling you that. Let's wrap everything up here.
I just got off the phone with President Trump. It was a roughly 9-minute phone interview talking about the war in Iran. Just want to give you the quotes. He said, quote, we're knocking the crap out of them. I think it's going very well. It's very powerful. We've got the greatest military in the world, and we're using it. I asked the president how long he thought this war might last. He said, I don't want to see it go on too long. I always thought it would be 4 weeks, and we're a little ahead of schedule. I asked him if the U.S. was doing more to help the Iranian people reclaim their country than the military strikes, if there was other stuff going on.
In case you guys don't recognize him, he doesn't have his suit on, and that's Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper, that's him in his car.
On. He said, yes, we are indeed, but right now we want everyone staying inside. It's not safe out there. He also suggested it was about to get even less safe. We haven't even started hitting them hard. The big wave hasn't even happened. The big one is coming soon.
Ooh, there's something he dropped we hadn't heard. The big wave hasn't even happened yet. They haven't even seen us unload on them yet. Hyperbole? Misdirection? Any event, that's what the president told Jake Tapper.
I asked the president about the fact that Iran attacked Arab countries in the region, Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, and the UAE. He said that that was the biggest surprise so far for him and his team. Quote, we were surprised. We told them, meaning the Arab countries, we've got this. And now they want to fight, and they're aggressively fighting. They were going to be very little involved, and now they insist on being involved. He said of the Arab leaders of those countries, I know these people, they're tough and smart. The Iranians, he said, quote, shot into a hotel. They shot into an apartment house. It just made them, meaning the Arab leaders, angry. They love us, but they were watching. There was no reason for them to be involved. That was probably the biggest surprise. You have to understand they were living under that dark cloud for years, meaning the Iranian nuclear threat. That's why you could never have peace. I asked, okay, well, who's going to lead Iran now? The president said, we don't know who the leadership is. We don't know who they'll pick. Maybe they'll get lucky and get someone who knows what they're doing. The Iranians, he said, lost a lot in terms of leadership because in the initial strikes, not only was Ayatollah Khamenei killed, but also 49 other Iranian leaders, he said.
So he's not going to tell Jake Tapper what the plan is. I don't know who's going to take over. And they run right to make a quick video. They run right out there to say, here, president told me this. And not for an instant do they sit back and go, am I being played? Yeah, you are. He knows that you're going to run out there and make a video. He knows you probably recorded the thing verbatim. And you're reading what he said, which, in essence, we have no idea anything that Jake Tapper is saying right now is President Trump actually going to do it. Are we waiting to see what the big giant new wave is going to be? Or is that just a head fake? And when he says he was surprised by the other Arab states getting involved, let me know if you really think President Trump was surprised how the UAE and Saudi Arabia responded. Let me know if you really think he's surprised. Nope.
An amazing strike. They got a little bit arrogant by meeting all in one place. They thought they were undetectable. They weren't undetectable. We were shocked by it. They don't even know who's leading them now. We went down 49, he said, meaning 49 leaders on the leadership chart there. We don't know who's leading the country now. They don't know who's leading. It's a little like the unemployment line. The president said that they tried to make a deal with the Iranians, but we couldn't make a deal with these people. He said every offer was met with a walkback of a previous offer. They had all that enriched stuff, he said, referring to uranium. They looked at redoing it there. This is after the strikes last June. But it was in such bad shape, the mountain had basically collapsed. The president said, this is the way to deal with Iran. We don't have to worry about agreements. He talked about all of the years, decades of killing and IEDs and all the destruction that Iran has wreaked on the United States and other countries. He said people in the military walking around with no legs, walking around with no arms, their faces shattered. He said that today's military operation was of a piece, part of a larger campaign. We took out Soleimani last time. That's referring to the Iranian general, Qassem Soleimani. He was an unbelievably violent, vicious general. Hitting him, he said, was a big move. If that didn't happen, then you might not have Israel today. Israel might not exist. Then he referred to Midnight Hammer, the strike against the Iranian nuclear facilities last June.
You notice what Jake is doing. He's basically reciting what President Trump said to him, which is, it tells me at this point, they don't have anything else to go on. whoever their so-called sources are, they're not getting any information out of the White House or the Department of War. They're flying blind. The media's got nothing. Everything is supposition. And so the only thing he can report right now is what he was actually told. And I'm sure he doesn't even believe what he's being told.
Away from having a nuclear weapon, he criticized Obama's nuclear deal with Iran. He said it gave all the power to Iran. They would have had a nuclear weapon 3 or 4 years ago. They would have used it against Israel. They maybe would have used it against us. In the latest talks, he said the Iranians, quote, weren't willing to give us what we asked for. They should have done it. So it's going good, the president said before getting off the phone.
So I see some of you guys are like, why would he talk to Jake Tapper? You got to step back and answer your own question. Why would he talk to Jake Tapper? You think maybe he knew that Jake Tapper would do something like that? You think that maybe he knew they'd be on air saying, hey, today President Trump talked to Jake Tapper. Here's what he said. And that gets disseminated. And so that the enemy, foreign and domestic, they hear the same thing. Everybody from CNN, all the liberals heard that same message. Oh, there's still a wave coming. Oh, we don't know who's going to be the leader. They've been watching CNN, all the libnuts, the libtards. They're hearing it. They don't know. They're turning on TV tonight and going, okay, what's going on? Well, Jake Tapper said that the big wave hasn't come yet. Anybody want to talk about what the big wave? We have no idea. That's the plan. Deception is not the same as misinformation. Keeping these people spinning, keeping them running around, not knowing what's happening must be driving them bat poop crazy. They're so used to, even I saw a post today that Jennifer Griffin was pissed off because at the press conference with Pete Hegseth, he didn't call on her. No, that person. Doesn't want to talk to them. Drives them crazy because every other administration seeds information to these people. They got nothing. You got Jake Tapper in a car. That's it.
Today, in their desperation, the enemy is unmasked. As Iranian missiles and drones rain down indiscriminately on the hotels, airports, apartments, and other civilian targets of their neighbors. Cowardly terrorist tactics from a regime that for decades has trafficked in cowardly terrorist tactics. Lies, death, and destruction to this day. The Iranian leadership has built nothing except proxies and missiles and drones and deeply buried nuclear factories and facilities. Peaceful nuclear ambitions do not need to be buried underneath mountains. Last June, Operation Midnight Hammer obliterated their nuclear program to rubble.
Obliterated.
Afterward, we told them plainly, that's it, now make a deal. They arrogantly refused. We said, rebuild it, and we'll stop you again, this time far worse. Well, President Trump, Secretary Rubio, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, they bent over backwards for real diplomacy, offering pathway after pathway to peace. I watched it. I was there. They tried over and over and over again earnest attempts at peace. The former regime had every chance to make a peaceful and sensible deal. But Tehran was not negotiating. They were stalling, buying time to reload their missile stockpiles and restart their nuclear ambitions.
Now, as Pete was doing this conference this morning, and I was listening to him, when you're negotiating with somebody, you already know their capabilities. You already know what they can do, what they can't do. So they were able to recognize they're stalling. What are they stalling for? Well, they're doing this and this and this. So you know the time frame, you understand what they're doing by stalling, and so you know what your drop dead date was. And so President Trump just kept saying, you're going to do it, you got to do it. All right, you think we're being like Biden, you think we're like Obama, we're not going to do anything. I'm telling you, we're going to blow the F out of you. And they didn't believe him.
Goal, hold us hostage, threatening to strike our forces. Well, President Trump doesn't play those games. And as Secretary Rubio said after the Maduro raid, if you don't know, now you know. President Trump puts America and Americans first. He doesn't hesitate, and neither do our troops. The mission of Operation Epic Fury is laser focused. Destroy Iranian offensive missiles, destroy.
Did you catch that? I caught that. Tell me if you caught what he just did. Because you have to wonder who he's talking to. When he and he looked directly at the camera and said laser focus. I don't know, maybe I put too much in the words people say, but is that the discombobulator? Did he just give the green light to the discombobulator? Let's see in the next 12 hours or so, freaking laser beams, sharks and camels with laser beams on their heads.
Iranian missile production, destroy their navy and other security infrastructure, and they will never have nuclear weapons. We're hitting them surgically, overwhelmingly, and unapologetically.
And that to me is the other big thing, is we're done bowing. We're done apologizing for America. This president is not going to bow to the Ayatollah. This president ain't taking off his shoes inside the Iranian palace. This president is going to take you to task because it involves keeping America safe. Wow, what a breath of fresh air. What a complete breath of fresh air, knowing that somebody out there, somebody in our government is going to make sure to the best of their ability that America stays safe.
So let me start with a few details. First, to be clear, as the Secretary said, this is not a single overnight operation. The military objectives that CENTCOM and the Joint Force have been tasked with will take some time to achieve, and in some cases will be difficult and gritty work. We expect to take additional losses, and as always, we will work to minimize U.S. losses. But as the Secretary said, this is major combat operations. So let me talk about the preparation and the planning. On February 28th, the full strength of America's armed forces came together in a unified purpose against a capable and determined adversary. The United States Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, Space Force, Coast Guard.
Wait. Did you hear that this morning? You know, I was working on my technology stuff here, and I'm like, wait. You just slid that in there. So Elon's working on his stuff, huh? The Space Force. He just rattled not a single person on the news I've seen all day. Nobody talked about the Space Force. I don't think they have any idea what the Space Force is doing. I don't even have any idea what the Space Force is doing. I can only imagine that some of these planes and some of this equipment is out there going, what the hell is the Space Force doing? I haven't seen any videos. I haven't seen anybody explain it. Can somebody tell me what the Space Force is doing when we attack somebody? Because right now I'm thinking Star Trek stuff. I'm thinking phasers. I'm thinking just crazy stuff happening, and in these other countries not knowing what the hell they're doing. Where'd that come from? And we just got told by General Kane that the Space Force was involved. Did you hear that earlier? Have you speculated on that? Well, I don't have any answers, but he just told you somewhere in there with Navy, Army, Marines, and Coast Guard, Space Force was doing some stuff too. Well, we can see the airplanes. We can see the aircraft carriers. What the hell happened from space? I really want to know that.
Reserve components integrated across our combatant commands and began coordinated operations with the Israeli armed forces of an unprecedented scale.
And so I was waiting during today's press conference that somebody would like, oh, General Kane, yeah. What did the Space Force do? At least he could have said, I can't tell you, but nobody even asked. I'm like, these people are idiots. Robin loves everything astronomical. She loves the heavens. She looks at what did the Space Force do? You guys can tell me, but damn, we got some stuff that nobody else even knows. Space Force, yeah, well, I'm excited about that.
Any American boots on the ground in Iran?
No, but we're not going to go into the exercise of what we will or will not do. I think it's one of those fallacies for a long time that this department or presidents or others should tell the American people, and our enemies, by the way, here's exactly what we'll do. Here's exactly how long we'll go. Here's exactly how far we'll go. Here's what we're willing to do and not do. It's foolishness. And so President Trump ensures that our enemies understand we'll go as far as we need to go.
What's your limit? We don't have one. And I'm definitely not telling you, but I will tell you this part. We don't have any limits. Where we're going, you can't measure. That would put chills down my spine if I were the Iranians or any opponent. How far are you willing to go? I'm willing to discombobulate you, whatever that means, however it happens.
Advanced American interests, but we're not dumb about it. You don't have to roll 200,000 people in there and stay for 20 years. We've proven that you can achieve objectives that advance American interests without being foolish about it. Now, will we be bold about it? Are we willing to be decisive about it? Do we put months and months of planning into what kind of effects we want to achieve? Absolutely. But going forward, why in the world would we tell you, the enemy, anybody, what we will or will not do in pursuit of an objective? We fight to win. We fight to achieve the objectives the President of the United States has laid out, and we will do so unapologetically. Thank you.
You know, you just heard that word again, unapologetically. We don't care what you think. We don't care. And so now you have to wonder, as you're hearing these press conferences over and over, and you're hearing what they're saying, and what they're clearly saying is everything we're saying, you have no idea what's true and what's not true. So how can these people who aren't even in the military be pontificating on X when he tells you straight up, we ain't telling you? Well, what are we having this press conference for? Exactly. You're having a press conference that means absolutely nothing. Because there is no way we're going to tell you from the New York Times or CNN, you don't know nothing. We're not telling you nothing. The news is nothing. They're not telling us. So go back to the beginning of the show, and that's what I was telling you is at this point, there are no authoritative people because they're not in the war room. They don't know what they're going to do. They don't know how they're going to do it. They don't know when they're going to do it. They don't know the strategy. None of us does. Why the hell would I tell you? He told you straight up.
Direction. To the media outlets and political left screaming endless wars, stop. This is not Iraq. This is not endless. I was there for both. Our generation knows better, and so does this president. He called the last 20 years of nation-building wars dumb, and he's right. This is the opposite. This operation is a clear, devastating, decisive mission. Destroy the missile threat, destroy the Navy, no nukes. Israel has clear missions as well, for which we are grateful. Capable partners. As we've said since the beginning, capable partners are good partners. Unlike so many of our traditional allies who wring their hands and clutch their pearls, hemming and hawing about the use of force. America, regardless of what so-called international institutions say, is unleashing the most lethal and precise air power campaign in history.
Precise, he says. So SV, it's long, so I can't read it all to you, but SV went to Grok and said, you know, what exactly is the Space Force doing? And I might have to write an article with this, but suffice it to say, I'll just tell you the headlines. Missile warning and tracking, positioning, navigation, and timing, GPS support, resilient GPS from Space Force, satellite communications, non-kinetic disruptive effects. What the hell is that? Non-kinetic disruptive effects. In the opening phases of Epic Fury, Space Command layered non-kinetic effects with Cyber Command to disrupt Iran's ability to see anything, communicate, or respond. This likely includes electronic interference with Iranian satellite. Wow. And then the other one says space domain awareness and protection. Broader efforts include monitoring adversarial satellites, Good God, they're up there just discombobulating in the sky, just destroying all their communications, all their satellites, making them go dark, and they can't do anything.
B-2s, fighters, drones, missiles, and of course, classified effects.
I just said that. He said classified effects. That's what it says. Non-kinetic disruptive effects. They're doing some crazy stuff. Huh.
Is there a concern of this spiraling into a longer war? And then one for the chairman when you're done.
Did you not hear my remarks?
Oh, let's just hear that again. But as you hear this, I want you to look at his face. His face is just so perfect with this. Just look at the man.
Is there a concern of this spiraling into a longer war? And then one for the chairman when you're done.
Did you not hear my remarks?
At that point, pick up your pad, your phone, and just kind of like slither out the room. He just discombobulated you in the press room. Did you not hear what I said? Oh my gosh. With a scowl on his face, not even a smile. Did you not hear what I said? Stupid. Ooh.
I mean, we're ensuring the mission gets accomplished, but we are very clear-eyed, as the president has been, unlike other presidents, about the foolish policies of the past that recklessly pulled us in to things that were not tethered to actual clear objectives. So we know. We have plans, we have generals, we have chairmen, we have commanders, CENTCOM commanders, Admiral Cooper, who's executing very deliberately to ensure outcomes that I laid out are accomplished. But we would never, in front of a press pool, lay out how long that may take.
Then why have the damn press conference? I mean, how many times you got to hear them? Now you guys know when you're on X and you're surfing around, or you got your remote and they're talking tonight, they don't know shit. Nobody is telling anybody anything. Why would I tell you, you lowly reporter? You got nothing for me. I'm not telling you nothing. There are no leaks. So go and print up your story, write your X post, do what you ever need to do so that you can try and deceive or manipulate other people. But I ain't telling you nothing. And now you know at 7:42 on Monday evening, watch what you post, watch what you listen to, watch what you share. Because people don't know anything. And trust me, so many people send me videos. I look at them like, what? Why would I listen to this dude? And you may say, well, Barry, why would we listen to you? I'm not telling you that I know what's going on. I'm just telling you what's being said. And we all can sit and watch with popcorn together because of the discombobulator and Space Force and whatever else they're doing. But nobody else knows.
The mission for our warfighters, which is what matters to us, is very, very clear. And they're executing it right now violently.
Violently. Oh, my goodness. Oh, what a time to be alive. We've never seen this before.
To those who would test our resolve or threaten the United States, our allies, or our interests, understand clearly we can reach you, we can sustain the fight, and we can scale the fight, and we will prevail. To the American people, your joint force remains steady, frosty, calm, and focused. Your service members are trained, disciplined, and determined. We understand the risks of this mission and the weight of the responsibility that we carry. We also recognize that our families also shoulder the burden at home. You are a part of this too. I am proud today, as I am every day, to stand as a member of America's joint force. There is no mission too complex, no distance too great, and no adversary too determined for the men and women who wear our nation's uniform. We mourn our fallen, we honor their families, and we continue our mission with focus, unity, and strength. And now I'm happy to take any questions.
No questions, sir. You scared me. You scared the hell out of me. As well, our adversaries should feel that way. And some of you may say, is it right to people to have fear? Well, respect, fear, don't start nothing, won't be nothing, all the kind of things that scare liberals. SV told me he's been over in Rumble and he's had to like whack-a-mole so many people who hate Israel and so many people who hate Trump. And he's found a way to look at them. He goes, a lot of them are coming from Nigeria and other countries. They're being told to come in and disrupt. So he, boom, 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 knock them out, get rid of them. Because what they're trying to do, and what a lot of people on X and Facebook and other places are trying to do, is get you off your game. You just heard from General Raising Cane, who just looked you right in the eye and said, we're going to do this. I don't know what they're going to do. You don't know what they're going to do. But do you trust him? I do. When I look into a general's eyes like that, and all the stuff that we've seen and all the stuff we haven't seen, which is probably more important. We didn't know till yesterday that they flew the B-2 bombers from Missouri all the way back over to Iran, boom, 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 and flew all the way back again. There's stuff happening that we don't know. There's stuff happening that we won't know until after it's done, if we ever hear of it at all. We don't know what the submarines are doing. We don't know where the submarines are. We don't know what they're launching. This is such a coordinated campaign that everybody in the media is trying to guess, and they have their talking head, former military guys on there. Think about something as you're watching, quote, former military guys. If you haven't been in the military for the last 2 years, you may not know what this weaponry even is. I see a certain couple of guys who've been around for some time and they're trying to pontificate. And I'm like, did you know anything about Space Force? Did you know anything about the discombobulator? Whatever that is. We don't know. They don't know either. Just remember that.
Trump telling our Jonathan Karl the Iranians have reached out to him now. And when John asked who leads Iran next, a candid President Trump said, no one we thought, because they're all dead. So let's bring in John now. And John, I could see from the conversation.
They're all dead. We killed them all. And this is Jonathan Karl again.
The president very pleased, very confident about the mission so far. And what did he say about who leads Iran now?
Well, David, first, striking how stunningly successful the president believes this military operation has been. He actually told me nobody else could have done this but me. As for who's going to lead Iran, he said that they had identified some possible candidates within the structure of the Iranian government, but as you said, they're all dead. He said the attack was so successful it knocked out most of the candidates.
And to be clear here, John, he said the Iranians have now reached out to him.
He told me that somebody within the Iranian government has reached out to him. I asked him who it was. He said, I probably shouldn't tell you, but it was somebody who had survived and somebody who, he added, is no longer reporting to the supreme leader.
I know the president has suggested that he would be open to the idea of a new round of talks now with Iran. But before you go, John, I know you also asked about the U.S. service members who've been lost here, 3 dead, and the ongoing danger with this operation still underway. What did the president have to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, he was quite candid. He said it's war and there are casualties in war. David, he also marveled at the fact that he's been through now 3 significant military operations. The first one in Iran, the operation to take out Maduro, and now this operation in Iran. And he said we have 3 casualties. 3 casualties. The Iranians, he said, can't count how many they've had.
And as you guys know, that number as of 15 or 20 minutes ago is up to 6 casualties. So we've had 6 people in our forces who have passed. I find it odd that they're not telling us how. We don't know if their planes got shot down. We don't know if they were indeed on the ground. We don't know if they were intelligence on the ground. We don't know. But we've lost 6 people, and nobody seems to have an idea as to what these people were doing.
Today, we grieve for the 4 heroic American service members who have been killed in action and send our love and support to their families. In their memory, we continue this mission with ferocious, unyielding resolve to crush the threat this terrorist regime poses to the American people, and a threat indeed it is. We have the strongest and most powerful by far military in the world, and we will easily prevail. We're already substantially ahead of our time projections, but whatever the time is, it's okay. Whatever it takes, we will always, and we have right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks, but we have capability to go far longer than that. We'll do it. Whatever somebody said today, they said, oh, well, if the president wants to do it really quickly, after that, he'll get bored. I don't get bored.
I wanted to put this at the end because I think he's having fun. You know, if you ever had the chance to go up against an adversary that, especially that in his case, wanted to kill him. I ain't tired. I ain't done yet. I may be up all night because I can't wait to do the rest of you guys. That's kind of chilling to me. Tired? He's what, 78 years old? I ain't tired. Oh, I'm just getting comfortable. This is just starting to be fun. Remember, he did all this at the beginning down here in Mar-a-Lago, which I was telling Robin, from now on, when he leaves Washington to go to Palm Beach, people should be going, oh, no. oh, no, he's leaving again. Shit's going to happen. Because it seems like every time something happens, he's down here. He's not vacationing. He's not chilling. He's blowing stuff up. You getting tired of this? Oh, no. I ain't tired. I'm just getting started. I'm just playing with my toys.
There's nothing boring about this. Do you agree with that, Pete? I don't think there's anything, Mr. General. I think there's nothing boring about it. Somebody actually said from the media, I think you'll get bored after about a week or two. No, we don't get bored. I never get bored. If I got bored, I wouldn't be standing here right now. I guarantee you that.
Oh, man, that would just freak me out if I was his adversary. Bored? I ain't getting tired. You got, maybe he's taking some Kimchi one. I don't know, but I'm not tired. I ain't no ways tired. I'm just getting started with you people. He's going full Dexter on them. He's Hannibal Lecterizing right now. Tired? Oh no, I got too many toys to play with. I got too many people to vaporize. I get to play with this discombobulator thing. Tired? None of us would be tired if we got to play with these things. Okay, what if I hit this button? Don't hit that button, sir. But what? Just tell me what happens if I hit that button. You don't want to know, sir. What about? Oh, get your hand away from there. Don't. Come on, give me one of the buttons, please.
Go through what I had to go through. We also projected for.
That was the money line. That at the end of the show here, we got like 44 seconds left. I'm going to have to rewind that because I want you to hear what he says right there, because that explains everything. Listen to what he says.
Wants to do it really quickly. After that, he'll get bored. I don't get bored. There's nothing boring about this. Do you agree with that, Pete? I don't think there's anything, Mr. General. I think there's nothing boring about it. Somebody actually said from the media, I think you'll get bored after about a week or two. No, we don't get bored. I never get bored. If I got bored, I wouldn't be standing here right now. I guarantee you that, to go through what I had to go through.
He just slid that in. What I had to go through. Do I need to recap that? What he's had to go through? Well, let's see. What I've had to go through. No. This isn't the boring part. The boring part was sitting in a court in New York day after day. That's boring. The boring part was the Secret Service not letting me do what I wanted to do because people were taking shots at me. That's boring. going and watching Letitia James and Judge Boaz Berger and all these people try to tell me I can't talk and putting gag orders on. That's boring. This shit's fun. I ain't tired. Too bad for them. You know, after what I went through, he just told you.
We also projected 4 weeks to terminate the military leadership, and as you know, that was done in about an hour, so we're ahead of schedule there by a lot. But please join me in thanking every American service member who bravely is standing in harm's way. They really are incredible, and I just want to thank you. We have a lot of them right here. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. We have a lot of great service members here with us, too, in this beautiful building. Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah, that would chill me out if I was one of his adversaries. Before I go, SB has a breaking news article here that just popped up. It says, breaking, Newsom loses big. Supreme Court blocks California law that tried to ban schools from informing parents if their child was a transformer. A conservative legal group was granted an emergency appeal because religious parents were likely to succeed on the merits. Man, they just keep losing. They just keep losing. Now, I understand I've been here for 3 hours, so I can't go in, but JD Vance is going to be on Jesse Waters at 8 o'clock. So I'll go ahead and tape that tonight so we can go through it tomorrow, and I can edit it and put it all together. So 8 o'clock tonight. What is she talking about? Before we go, let me see if this is worth listening to. Hold on.
No. Throw to the New York Times.
Oh,
Here to weigh in, Laura Trump.
All right, so 8 o'clock, JD Vance is going to be on Jesse Waters' show. I'll tape it. And then, of course, I think Bibi Netanyahu is going to be on 9 o'clock on Sean Hannity. So I'll tape that for tomorrow as well. Might want to give the mods. Give the mods a workout, because they'll have, if you ever show anything with Bibi Netanyahu, you got to work, because man, the trolls come out when you even say the word Israel. If you put Israel in a title, good luck with that. I mean, that's how bad it is. It's a damn shame. A damn shame that happens at this point. If you even mention the word Israel, they come out like crazy nuts. All right, so I've reached the end of the third show of the day. Whew, I made it through. I got to go home and kiss the wife and the doggies, and wow, I made it. All right, let's look at some super chats, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Demon of Cybertron, trolls and black pillars are working triple shifts right now. They are. Just ignore them. John says Trump needs to get all senators in session, use the discombobulator on them. But I think they already used it on Mitch McConnell. He's got nothing left. Wait a second. Mr. Mike, Barry, you are spot on. What a show. I'm with you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I almost didn't make it today. I'm like, Ashley, I might have to skip this afternoon, because every time I put stuff together, it takes me literally like an hour or two to do it. And after the second show, I'm like, am I going to have time to put something together? But I'm like, okay, I can do it. Crunk juice. You cannot go to war with a civilian mindset. A civilian mindset gets you killed. Civilians need to relax and let the professionals do their thing. Well said. Jeanette. Barry check. Nah, no, I ain't gonna do that. Y'all gotta stop mentioning other people. I don't know if you're real or if you're trying to get people to go and watch something. Oh, that's just started happening recently, so we must be over the target. Cat Black, thank you. Alice, I wish we could have seen the speech JFK did before he died. He was telling us what was going to happen, especially with Cuba. Buddy Sanders, yes, I saw the footage, and I saw it skyrocketing before the crowd brought out firearms, and no Pakistani police anywhere. Yeah, if you get a chance and you have a strong stomach, go ahead and look up that footage of what happened in Pakistan and how the Marines just this was not going to be your Benghazi. So whatever plan you had, you screwed up because you got the wrong president. And they opened fire on them, and not anybody's really talking about it. Cody, funny how China and Russia didn't come to Iran's defense. Iran relies on Russia for intel. I believe Russia withheld that intel purposely because they don't want a FAFO. Bet China will think twice about Taiwan. You know, the easiest way to make people feel like we need to cut a deal is cut into their money. And right now, President Trump is sitting there with a solution for China. Let's see what happens. Cody, the mods are on fire. Thank you for what y'all do. Thank you. They do a great job. Johnny Bravo, only because Beth said to send one. Bielka, not slap a hoe, too funny. Yeah, slap a hoe. Oh, I played it this morning. I was trying to burn time, but there's a baby Trump in a Ayatollah outfit, and oh man, it was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious. Johnny, okay, everyone, I'm tired of seeing Barry stuck at 350K. Let's all hit the like button. Everyone, read this. Thank you very much. I've pretty much taken a different approach on thing, and I want to have more of a show than put out, oh, here's this and clickbait and stuff like that. So that's why subscribers don't really move that. Not a lot of people want 3-hour shows. Chiosop, with everything President Trump has accomplished, shows how useless or deliberate the previous admins were dragging stuff out, costing money. Yep, they were probably getting paid. Chiefs up, Jake Tapper, the jockstrapper, looks defeated. He did look like he had nothing to offer. Just watch how many of these people push the Epstein stuff tonight, too. That's crazy. Born on a 4th. Thank you, Barry and Fanfare team, for the Bibles. Okay, God bless you. Yeah, we got a whole bunch more in today, so we're going to get Robin over here and get those out. Fume Drummer, thanks for making a show that didn't feature a ton of MSM like The View, straight up. I can't take these people. Fume Drummer, Raytheon better put another shift to backfill the used up Tomahawks. Cutting edge. Today I saw a video in which Israel used laser from space against Houthi rockets, literally. Oh, I got to see that. I'll have to look that up. Condition-based. I've always believed Space Force is more cyberspace than outer space. Well, SB looked it up on Grok, and it seems like they are doing stuff out there, too. Cutting edge. Remember, almost half of the accounts on the internet are bots, and the others are obedient rats. Call to put hate in every live stream. I agree. Sometimes I get negative comments or negative likes before we even start a show. Like, how are you against? I didn't even say anything. We get that a lot. Penny, we at this time in history in the Trump administration have the most competent, most effective military force in history. Indeed. Chiosop, revenge is never boring. It's exciting. There you go. There you go. There's some truth right there. And Neil, hey brother, God bless and protect our American troops, our president and his mid team. It's FAF time overdue. Thank you, Barry and team. More Bibles. Thank you guys very, very much. Thank you. You guys give me the energy to go out here and get these shows done. Because today I was dragging tail today. I was tired, and I'm like, I don't know if I can get through this, but you guys absolutely rock. All right, so I will see you all tomorrow, okay? And let me hit this button.